Welcome in, everybody. We're going to get started in just 1 second. Wow, there's a lot of people here. How's everybody doing today? I am Vince with Truckers Unite Now. We're going to start rocking and rolling in just 1 second. We're going to get some people up on TikTok. We're on YouTube. What are we on? YouTube, X. We're on Facebook. And we're going to be on TikTok in just 1 second. Okay, yeah, you guys are there. Hello, how you doing? I see you, YT Border. We're going to be talking about trucking tools today. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to start rocking and rolling in just 1 second, okay? Why are trucking tools so expensive? All right, yeah. TB says, or I'm sorry, that's not your name. What is it? Whiteboard. Okay. Yeah, whiteboard. Good. I hear you. We're still waiting for a few more people to come up on Facebook. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Let me get TikTok going, and then we're going to start. All right. We're not building a team anymore. So thank you for you guys' patience. I just got to start a new board really quick, and then we're going to start. Let's see. Okay, we're going to do a new one. General. Yeah, learn with me. Tool suck. Okay. Hey, while we're waiting, what do you know about tolls? Why do we pay so much? Why are we getting triple taxed on the same highway for trucking tolls? Why? I don't know why. I can't answer that. So that's why we're here today. We're here to figure out what the hell, man. Heck. Thank you, honey. The heck. What the heck? All right, building a team. You know what? I guess that's good. Oh, it looks like I have lipstick on this one. Hopefully I don't have an effect on. No effect. Whatever, we're going live. We don't care. Okay, address non-domicile. We can address non-domicile too. But we're going over tolls as our primary goal today. So we're gonna get some people in here. And yeah, we're just waiting on a few more people to come in. Let's see. Not sure. Let's see. Why boredom says not sure. Maybe because the president raises the price on every single thing. You're right. You know, I actually supported him like crazy up until he is trying to get $200 million to get that ballroom going. My idea on that is your people are suffering, right? Why are you going to put $200 million into a ballroom to impress leaders around the world when your people right here at home are suffering, right? That's just my opinion. You know, for any leader, if you call yourself a leader, take care of your people. What's going on, TikTok? How's everybody doing? My name is Vince with Truckers Unite Now. I'm going to redeem this something that they're telling me on TikTok. I don't know. They give me so much stuff and sure. Thanks for the 50 cents, TikTok. Anyways, that's not why we're here. What's going on? Lion Fury is in the house on TikTok. We got Boredom in on YouTube. Thanks for being here, you guys. All right, we're just going to jump into it. Let's see. What do we got? The high cost of trucking tolls can be attributed to several factors. Increased demand. The demand for toll roads has risen due to the need for infrastructure improvements and maintenance. That's a bunch of BS because in Ohio, Indiana, Florida, California, New York, some of the worst toll roads in America. Am I right? Am I right or am I wrong? Infrastructure investment. Toll authorities invest in infrastructure projects to support the growing demand for toll roads. Well, why is there a growing demand for toll roads? Could it possibly be because we're selling out our country? Could that be why? Just a guess. All right, Boredom over on YouTube says, yep. Facebook is very quiet. TikTok, welcome in everybody. How you doing? What's going on? Today we're talking about tolls. I don't know why it says building a team. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Let's get rid of that. I love it. Okay, much better. Let's turn this a little bit that way. Star H, welcome in. Lion Fury, welcome in. How y'all doing? Thanks for being here. Market adjustment. Markets adjusts. Such an inflation and rising interest rates can lead to increased toll rates. So why are we here today? Today, Ty, welcome in. He says, hi, bro, what's up? I know you are the trucker right activist. Yes, I am. I am a trucking advocate. You are absolutely right. Today, we are talking about tolls, Tolly. What do you know about tolls? We have decided at Truckers Unite Now, we are primarily focusing on tolls, because if we as a team can focus and conquer the toll BS, scam, gaslighting, BS system of tolls around our country, and get them to stop hitting our pocketbook, we can do so much more. Let me get on Wi-Fi real quick, guys. Sorry for the delay on TikTok. I don't know why it's delaying. There we go. I'm back. Okay. Tolly says, thank you for your support. You're absolutely welcome. Check this out, Tolly. The high cost of trucking tolls can be attributed to several factors. Increased demand. The demand for toll roads has risen due to the need for infrastructure improvements and maintenance. I call BS on that. What maintenance? Have you been through Ohio lately? Have you been through this little section right here on I-80 from, what is it, Michigan City, Michigan to Boston, Massachusetts? It's a shit show. I'm just going to say it. It's an absolute shit show. Total Boredom says, I am allowed to swear in here. I think so. Just as long as it's like clean swearing, not disgusting sharing. I did. My daughter caught me red-handed, you guys. I did. What do I got to do? 20 push-ups? 30?
You need to do 25 push-ups and you need to apologize to God.
Okay, everybody. I'm sorry, Lord, for cussing. And also, I got to do 30 push-ups. I'm not going to do those on the live. But, honey, I owe them to you, okay? Thanks for being in Facebook. How you doing? YouTube and X, how are you doing? And TikTok, what's going on, everybody? How are you? If you haven't shared the live or liked it already, please do so. Let's get some people in here. Let's solve the world's problems. Sean, welcome in. How you doing? Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for being here. I see you tapping the screen on TikTok. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. The Mad Hatter says, hey, brother, what's going on, man? How are you? I'm glad you're here. Today, we're talking about tolls. At Truckers Unite Now, we have decided to, a new friend of mine told me I need to pick a topic and I need to run with it. I got to stop being all over the board. And you know what? I agree with that person. I think in the trucking industry, it's so scattered. There are so many issues in the trucking industry that it's all by design to get us confused, scattering and arguing over the same 20 problems, right? Parking, ELD, trucking rates, trucking maintenance costs, taxes. You know, we talk about the exact same thing. Too many permits. This is not unconstitutional. That's not unconstitutional. There is so much to focus on Facebook, X, YouTube, and TikTok that we're all scattered, I feel like. So we are picking... Rob the driver says this is facts. That's right. So yeah, we're picking one topic. We're picking tolls. All right. We have some silent partners that are going to help us with this. And I'm just a tiny portion in helping for the bigger picture. Man, it would be my dream for all 300 or even 2 million truck drivers in this country, our country, if they would get involved and just a tiny dent. 5 minutes a week, we'd solve every problem we have, and we'd all have paradise. Instead of fighting each other, we tell our representatives that are our employees, we tell them what to do. They do it. They make our pursuit of happiness happy, and we have a great life. I don't know about you guys right now. How's your guys' life? How's your guys' finances? You guys putting a bunch of money away in savings? Because I sure as heck am not. Well, let me read. Where did it go? Oh, it disappeared. He erased his comment. Oh, no, here it is. Mr. Delivery says, hey, FedEx shutting down 475 stations. I don't know about the freight. Wow. Well, probably some mega carriers will try to gobble that up. But isn't FedEx owned by the government anyway? I think UPS and FedEx is owned anyway by them. They both have unions. Independent contractors can't form unions, right? It's part of the RICO Act or something like that. Yeah, so I don't know. Again, thank you everybody that's sharing the live, that is tapping the screen. Really appreciate it. We want to try to get out there to let everybody know what's going on. So tolls. Check this one out, you guys. So I just Googled, why are trucking tolls so expensive? The high cost of trucking tolls can be attributed to several factors. One is increased demand. The demand for tolls has risen due to the need for infrastructure improvement and maintenance. Isn't that the biggest crap you've ever heard? Really? Really? Has anybody here been on the I-80 from, I don't know, Chicago to New York, gone over the George Washington? How's that road? And that's the highest toll cost in the country, that little section. What is that? 1,000 miles? And it's like $400? What?
Said 5 extra push-ups.
My daughter's making me push-ups, guys and gals. I can't swear. If I swear, tell me to be quiet. Hopefully she doesn't catch me, because she is watching me like a hawk. Good for her. Thank you for the follow, Marcos. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Florida, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate you. Thank you for liking the live. Mr. Delivery says, not sure. He was talking about FedEx earlier. He said, not sure, but my job got cut. Brother, I'm really sorry to hear that. But you know what I will say to you, Mr. Delivery? When one door closes, another one opens. And my advice to you would be, go get your own contracts. To hell with FedEx, man. And to heck with the federal government. You don't need them. None of us need them. Does anybody know about the selective service for the U.S. military? I just found out at 18, you have to sign up for selective service, which means if they create a draft for a war, they want to know where your sons are at. They want to know where you're at. I don't think that's right. We're not their property. We are not the federal government's property. Do not be afraid of the federal government. You are the federal government. There's no such thing as government funded. Everything is citizen funded, taxpayer funded. You and I pay taxes to fund everything. That F-16 you see flying over your head from time to time, that's your jet. That's your jet. These are your representatives. We tell them what to do. They don't tell us what to do. Now, right now, that's not happening, is it? But it needs to change. So anyways, thank you. I see you guys tapping the screen. I appreciate it. The Mad Hatter says, I had to get my card when I turned 18. Okay, see? Dude, I don't remember I must have signed up in high school because I don't remember signing it. So the for the selective service, the punishment is you can't have a federal Pell Grant, can't get a college loan, can't work for the government. And I'm not dissing the government 100% here, okay? Yes, government jobs are great, and we need the government, but the government has too much power. It's way too much power right now, because I don't know about you. I'm not feeling a pursuit of happiness, and that's what the Bill of Rights told me, is that the government is there for my pursuit of happiness, your pursuit of happiness, your pursuit of happiness, and your pursuit of happiness, not people all around the world. Not China or Russia or Africa or India or Afghanistan or Canada. I'm sorry, but right now it's all hands on deck. We need help right here. This is who needs help. This is who needs help. These beautiful people right here. We need help. All right. So, Mr. President, if you're watching this, forget about the ballroom right now and $200 million. Your people need help. Businesses, small businesses that run this country need that money. Not a ballroom to impress other leaders. Who cares about the other leaders? We only care about the leaders here. Well, me anyway. I can't speak for you guys. But Florida, Sarah, no, I did not serve. I did not serve. Let's see. Okay, it is right. Sorry, I'm going to disagree. Okay, how do you disagree, Florida? I love debate, so I'm going to start bringing people up here in a minute. Um, there are no wrong answers, and civilly debating, that's what our country's all about, right? I will say this, Florida, though. I will say this. I completely 1000% agree with, I love our soldiers. I know we need our soldiers, and I believe in the defense of America. I believe in self defense. I don't believe in offense, going 10,000 miles away and fighting, unless it was like a World War II situation, right? Um, People need to fight for their own freedom. It's true. Okay, it's like buying a house, right? If your parents just give you the money for a house and you go buy a house, are you going to really appreciate that house or a car or anything for that matter if someone just buys it for you? Or are you going to appreciate it working hard for it or working smart for it, coming up with a bunch of money that you created and then you go buy that house, car, whatever? You're going to appreciate it much more, right? Um, Let's see. Rothan 2025 says avoiding the selective service sign up is also a felony. I didn't read that part, but I also forgot to mention it's 5 years in prison possibility and a $25,000 fine. But it's rarely prosecuted. They say they prosecute about 5 people a year, and even that, it's almost impossible to prosecute someone. Again, I don't want to get too much off topic, but when it comes to selective service and when it comes to the military, I have an idea. How about anybody that starts wars, whoever starts those wars, those sons and our sons can go together. They can go in the buddy system. That's all I'm saying. Because the people that start the wars, their sons and daughters mostly don't serve. Some do, but mostly they don't. Anyway, we're off topic. Please don't think I absolutely love our country and our military. I just think all the billions of dollars we're spending right now overseas, that could really go to help us, couldn't it? And those are our tax dollars. Those tax dollars don't need to go elsewhere. It's un-American. America first. I'm going to keep saying it because I believe in it. America first, man. Florida, Sarah says, if a man does not sign up for the selective service, he is technically a draft dodger. Uh, okay. I don't know how to answer that really. Yeah, you could be right. But anyway, we're getting off subject. Okay, back to tolls. All right. Infrastructure investment. Tolling authorities invest in infrastructure projects to support the growth demand for toll roads. The growth demand for toll roads. So you're looking to get more money off us. You're looking to tax us more in the other states that are not. So let's see, 38 tolls are taxed in our country. 38 states out of 48 are already taxed with tolls, right? So they tax us on fuel, IFTA. They tax us on our 2290. Is that constitutional? Is that unconstitutional? Does anybody know? Let's see. I need answers, people. I don't think many people know about the tolls, do they? Let's see. This is our first live on tolls, so please be patient. And again, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing the live, all of you. I appreciate you on X, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. I appreciate you. Opening costs, the operational cost of tolling, including maintenance and security, contribute to the overall cost of tolls. But that's a bunch of BS. You know why? Because they say we need so much money for tolls to create the booths, to create the system, the employees, but then it never goes away, does it? Or they say we need to create a toll system for a certain bridge, but then 20, 30, 40 years later, it's still there. They say we only need it for 2 years to cover construction costs of a bridge, right? Hey, thank you on Facebook. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Um, Boy, you're awfully quiet over there now, boards. You're quiet. What happened to you? Pandemic effect. The pandemic has had a significant impact on tolling authorities, leading to increased rates to replenish cash reserves. These factors combined contribute to the high cost of trucking tolls, making them a significant expense to trucking companies. More like you're putting people out of business. That's a bold lie. Do you guys even believe most of the stuff that is on the internet anymore? I don't believe this. So what we're looking for truck drivers that are interested in giving us data. We want real trucker data with real truck drivers. I don't think AI is 100%. AI just tells you what the internet says. It searches the entire internet in seconds and it tells you what the internet says. So if the internet's lying, we all know that the internet lies and in places. That's the information you're getting from AI. You can ask it the same question twice. I don't know if y'all have ever done it. You can ask it the same question twice and it'll give you two different answers. So, see, Florida Sarah says, what is the deadliest road to avoid tolls? Okay, I just learned this, Florida Sarah. Let's see if you know it. Is it the US 20? Starting in Michigan City, Michigan, going all the way to Boston. Is that what you're talking about? Because I just learned about that earlier today, actually. So that's one of the main, not toll roads, but all the roads that we avoid as truck drivers. We are looking for truck drivers to give us data on those to possibly get rid of tolls, right? Maybe we could abolish tolls altogether if we could get real data on what is the safety behind us avoiding tolls? What is the how many stoplights are there? How many sharp curves are there? How many truck drivers get in accidents and are unalived from it? You know, and we don't need FMCSA getting a $10 million grant to do a study that never gets completed, right? We can't, you know what? We can't trust them anymore. I'm sorry. We cannot trust the government. We can only rely on ourselves. We, the people, are the only people right now. It's broken arrow as far as I'm concerned in our country. We can only trust each other. That's it. And sometimes we can't even trust each other. But I would trust you guys, all you, if any of you are strangers watching me now, I trust you guys more than the government. We, the people. If you're a hardworking, blue collar person, you come from good stock, I trust you way more than I do the government, straight up. C. Walton, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Thank you. Jackrabbit says Indiana is talking about making I-70 a toll. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. I'm going to write that down. All the notes you guys give me, any information you can give me, this is literally my first day going down this rabbit hole. And we have decided at Truckers Unite Now, we have some other partners. We are working strictly on tolls. Regardless what happens in the trucking industry, unless it's some national emergency, this is it. This is going to be our advocacy for the next 15 years. I've devoted 15 years of my life to trucking in America advocacy. Why? Because I am a truck driver. A lot of you know my story. If you want to hear it, let me know. If not, we'll keep moving on. But look at that. Indiana, I-70. Damn, I've been using that for years to get around the I-80, $400. And you know what? Brokers aren't even giving us that $400 anymore on most loads. I'm a pretty good negotiator, but it's getting harder and harder to negotiate anything with these brokers. I don't know how you guys are doing, but and I feel like, you know what? Shippers are probably still paying them. They're just shoving that in their pocket too, right? Because they've worked really hard to get that load. So they deserve, everything from it, all the revenue from it. To heck with what our small businesses need. Indiana, I-70 trying to make toll. That doesn't surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised if every single interstate was taxed, tolled in 20 years, 30 years. I wouldn't be surprised. Thank you for the follow, Taurus78. I appreciate you. Thank you. Florida Sarah says it is. Okay. So what do you guys know about the most dangerous road? Is that it, Florida? Is the US 20 starting in Michigan City? Is that it? Like just on the other side of Chicago, just on the other side of Michigan Lake? Is that what you're referring to? All right, let's see. They're coming in fast now. Let's see. Florida says, you see Dave lost his platform. No. Are you talking about McCollin? He lost his platform? Wow. All righty then. Crazy. And Emma Carr says, more taxation, more bills, limits jobs, means more control. Now, see, there's a smart person because all of this that's happening to us right now is perfect design. Have you ever noticed, especially like in the last 20 years, it's almost like it's perfect how you live paycheck to paycheck, right? And no matter how hard you work, it's always paycheck to paycheck. Did that happen to y'all's grandparents? Did that happen to your parents? Or did they have a really nice middle class American life? Did they pay their house off in 10 years? How about truck drivers before deregulation? They paid off their trucks within a couple years, right? Maybe a year, brand new, brand new. They paid their house off in 10 years, right? I hear that they had families all over the country because they could afford it. I can't even afford one family, not that I would have multiple. I'm just saying. Uh, and when you retire at 55, you would have $500,000 in the bank plus Social Security, so you could live out the rest of your life pretty decent. You could have a good life. Did you guys know that truck drivers in America, our average lifespan is 62 years old? 62 years old. So, in my opinion, don't we need 2 or 3 vacations a year? Because if we're leaving the earth at a young age, we need to get living. Life isn't all about work. We got to have a little bit of fun too. Let's see. That be insane. Mr. Delivery says, that be insane. Yep. Florida Sarah said, yes. Jackrabbit says, Terra Hante. Indiana, right? What are you trying to tell me, Jackrabbit? What do you mean, Terra Hate? I know I probably said that wrong, but is that where you're telling me they're gonna create the first toll off I-70? Audrey says the interstates are military routes and are funded by AHF. Hold on, let me write that down. I knew they were federal and for the military, but let's see. So wait, doesn't that mean the feds shouldn't the feds be taking care of the roads? Then why are the tolls for the roads going all over the place? Why are we selling some of the toll bridges to Australia? Why are we selling them for 100 years out? You know what I mean? And I truly want to learn. I'm here to learn. Y'all are teaching me. Thank you, Audrey. You always give me information I can look at. Okay, HTF, IIJA, and the state. Okay. So if they're federal funded or federal funded, why are they so crappy? Why does Ohio throw my alignment off every third time I go through it? I got to get a new $400 alignment, $500 alignment. Wherever there's a toll in the United States of America, correct me if I'm wrong, truckers, wherever I drive in America where there's a tolled road, that's the worst roads in America. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. Let's see. Peace says, is this USA trucks or Australian truck drivers? Exactly my point. Why are we selling anything to other countries that's inside this country? The money needs to stay here, guys. Please. If I could get one sentence out to the entire country, if I could speak to all 350 million Americans right now, I would say, keep our money in our country, please. Because the middle class is going down fast. And what, 85% of us are middle class, 80%, right? Let's see. All right. Jack Rabbit says, if the interstate is federal, why is 70 in Indiana pothole city? That's what I was just saying, Jack Rabbit. I was just saying, why are all the toll roads in America the worst roads in our country? Nevada I-80 has zero. That's my home state. The I-80 has zero. Excuse me. Chris, what's going on, man? How you doing, Chris? Thanks for being here. The I-80 in Nevada, both east and west, have the most beautiful butter smooth roads in America. And guess how much the toll road is starting at the California border all the way to the Utah border off the I-80. Guess how much the tolls are. $0. $0. So do the feds just love Nevada? Do the feds hate Ohio? Do they hate Indiana? Do they hate Pennsylvania? Well, Pennsylvania is actually okay. Well, some areas are bad. New York, do they absolutely hate it in New York? I don't know. George Kirk says true. Right. Nice. P says New York has the worst roads and is the most expensive bridges. Exactly my point. Let's see if I can pin that. I believe I can because nobody's coming up yet. We can start bringing people up. If anybody wants to come up, feel free to come up. Anybody that wants to educate me on tolls. This is our new at Ton Truckers Unite Now. We also have some new partners I'm very excited about. that are teaching me, and we're all collaborating, and we're trying to get this figured out, because enough is enough. We're sticking with no more deer in the headlights. We're not going like this anymore, like we have the last 7 months. We are primarily sticking to tolls. Unless there's some national emergency where truckers are needed, that's what we're doing. Nightmare Danny says scam artist. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'll give you an example, right? I just simply Googled what I Google? Why are trucking tolls so expensive in America? This was the first bullet point. Increased demand. The demand for toll roads has risen due to the need for infrastructure improvements and maintenance. Really? Well, you might want to start with Ohio. You might want to get over to Kingman, Arizona. Actually, start in Kingman, Arizona, please. Please start there. Start in Kingman, Arizona. I would appreciate that anyway, because that's where I run most of the time, a lot of the time. Jackrabbit, what do I think about FOPT? And by the way, everybody, thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you for the comments. That helps it get bigger and possibly get to the FYP, which is really hard to get nowadays. So thank you, you guys. What do I think about FOPT? FOPT is obviously a trucking advocate. There's not many out there. I think his heart is in a great place. And I like what he's doing. I don't agree with everything that he's doing or that he says, but I think he's passionate about American truck drivers and the American trucking industry. And I think we need more people like him. You know, some people don't like him, some people do like him, but doesn't that go for everybody? What do you think about FOPT? Jackrabbit, what do you think about him? Audrey says the IIJA ends this year. What is that, Audrey? What is the IIJA? Let's see. It ends this year. Yeah, I don't know. So let's hear it, people. What do we know about tolls? Where does the money go? Does anybody know where the money for tolls goes? Because it obviously doesn't go to the roads. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Let's see if Audrey will come up. I haven't talked to Audrey in a long time. Let's see if she'll come up. Florida, you want to come up too? See, Jack Rabbit says, I think that he needs to do some research on some things. You are absolutely right. That's why I'm here, Jack Rabbit. Teach me. Audrey, what's going on? Where'd she go?
Sorry, I was having some technical difficulty tonight. It's a blizzard at my house, so my tech is a
Oh,
little wonky tonight. So,
no worries.
yeah. So the IIJA is the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, and it was a massive multi-year federal project that was to fund highways, bridges, broadband communications, water systems, energy, and some resilience programs through 2026. So that ends this year.
Okay.
It runs through September of this year. I don't know the exact date, but it runs through September of this year. And so there was about $350 billion in highway programs alone that was allocated to that. Well, it was a part of that allocation.
Wow.
So George says, Audrey, tell us where the money goes. I'm assuming you mean the toll money. Is that what you're referring to?
I'd like to know where the money goes. Yeah, definitely.
So part of it is that, and I put this in the comments earlier about tolls, is that um it's an infusion of money for that particular state or area. Look at the Chicago Skyway. There's a huge lease on that one, and that one's probably the most prominent one and the easiest one to kind of track the funds on. So that kind of is the thing, is that a lot of these local jurisdictions, whether it be a city or a county or a state, put these toll roads in as these one-time infusions, and then they lease out or lent out the tolls that they collect from that to whomever. I mean, if you're a private company, you could buy I-70, or whatever you want it. Like you could lease that if you make that you make that contribution or whatever. So when you look at the toll agencies, about a third of that money goes to the facilities. So that goes to like the operations, the maintenance, the preservation, and construction. About a quarter of that goes to debt on construction to build the toll. So, and then the other 20% goes to the government entities or the transportation programs.
Okay.
So,
So they say.
Right. I mean, that's in theory what is written.
Right.
You know, but private investors, yes, they are private investors many times. Sometimes it's you know, some of them are public toll authorities, some of them are private or leased toll roads. It just depends on the state rules and regulations or the state law or something like that. Hey, good evening, Sean. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. And then I would say some of them are even out of country investments, like Australia. They're invested in there. I mean, you can look at the LLCs, and if you actually just look at on Google it, and then find your sources on there, it'll actually show you like oh, there's several of them that are overseas that actually invest into it. So like even in Chicago, I mean, even if you go on just the tolls, but they actually Chicago's fighting a big thing right now. They all their parking meters and stuff, they actually needed money to fix their sewer system and the roads, so they actually leased it out, sold the lease for like 10 years. I think the Chicago Skyway bridges, I think that's 30-year lease is what they leased that out to them to be in. So they don't even know what the numbers. So say if that thing makes $1 billion a year, for the next 30 years, they actually get it. And then what they put their initial funds in. So if they said, hey, we needed $1 billion, they could make $1 billion every year in profits because that's what they invested.
Yeah, so it's interesting too because you look at like Australia. Australia's got about $32 billion. They're the largest world operator for toll roads. It's called Trans-Bourbon. They're out of Australia. Sulky Company is UAE, so Dubai. That's about 12 billion. Yeah. And then there's another one from China, and I think they're like 6 or 7 billion of that. And then there's a couple other ones that Australia runs. It's not Trans-Bourbon, but there's a couple others. And they're like $5 or $6 billion worth of that. So most of the toll roads are owned by private toll authorities and not private companies. Like New Jersey Turnpike is the largest one in the US. Pennsylvania is right behind them. Illinois, Florida, and then I think Texas kind of runs in there as well. But yeah.
So Audrey, how do we free our people? Pharaoh, let our people go. How do we free our people from this slave system that really smart people have figured out how to make us all just work 90-hour weeks and barely survive while really smart people at the top are just selling things off and they're raking in all the money and we're so busy working that none of us are focusing on anything. I'm exhausted just by doing this kind of work on top of work, right? But enough is enough. It's too much.
So you're asking me how to solve the economic crisis in the US? Is that the only problem you need solved today?
In 10 minutes, please.
I got you.
Yeah.
10 minutes to solve the world crisis. Okay.
I got to put the kids to bed in 13 minutes. So.
Gotcha. So the world, according to Audrey, if I was clean for a day, I think one of the biggest things, and I think a lot of Americans, and as somebody who's a candidate right now, who's out knocking on doors and talking to real Americans, this is something that I'm hearing from everybody. Jobs in the economy are huge. They're tired of being taxed to death. I don't care if you're a truck driver, if you're a school teacher, what you are.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that there's a lot of upset people in the world about us funding other countries, whether that be their wars, their social programs, or whatever. I'm all about a strong military. I'm a military brat myself, so I'm all about a strong military. But I'm a huge believer that we have to take care of our own first. And I think we need to keep a lot more of our money in the US. I think we need to provide for our elderly and our veterans and our people who are doing the work that we need done. And I think there needs to be an adjustment from there. The second part of that is I think we need to make congressional legislation a one item bill, which means that if you're passing an infrastructure bill, you can't sneak pork projects into that infrastructure bill. So you have to be, it's roads or bridges or whatever. You can't sneak in a private monument for whomever in whatever state. And if you've ever read, I can remember this very clearly, and I want to share this with you because it kind of gives you a little bit of perspective. So we're all really familiar with Obamacare, right? And the implications of Obamacare. It was almost a 1,700-page bill.
Wow.
When you break that down, only about 700 pages were actually the bill itself. The rest of it was pork projects and special interests that got attached to that bill. So it may have been a private highway, or it may have been a monument, or it may have been a theater, or whatever else that a particular legislator, senator, congressman, or whatever wanted to get through to pass this bill or to not pass it. And so if we went to single item legislation on a national level, I think you would see a lot more money going back. So that's number two. Number three.
Wait, a single what? I'm sorry, a single what?
A single item or single topic. They call it a single topic bill.
Okay.
And number three would be is that we have to monitor our spending. No different than any of us on here. You know, there are lots of things we want versus lots of things we need versus the things that we can afford, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to have these realistic conversations, and we have to elect people who share those values. Of course, we all want a Maserati and to go to Florida and hang out where it's nice and warm. I mean, I'd love that right now. I got 16 inches of snow at my house, but the reality is I can't afford the Maserati and I can't afford to go to Florida right now. So I have to make life choices that, I can work as hard as I can, and maybe I'll get a Florida trip sometime in the near future, but that's not going to happen, right? So we have to make sure that we are good stewards of the money we're given.
Right. Right. It's like, I tell that to my kids all the time, food, water, shelter, medical, dental. Those 5 things, that's all we really need. And one hobby. If you want to throw in a hobby there, 6 things is what you need. But you don't need 20 hobbies. You know what I mean? So in America, like, look at our medical system. That's what I'm talking about. I won't say the country, but I know there's other countries that have full medical health benefits paid for by us, but we don't have it. So it's like, is this the greatest country in the world, or are we just the best slaves in the world? But we don't know it. You walk in a grocery store, all the items you think that you have a choice of, they're owned by 3 big companies, BlackRock, Vanguard, and what's the other one? I can't think of it right now. But it's enough is enough. We got to start somewhere. We got to stop giving any money to other people, you know? And I agree with you on the defense of America. I don't know if you said it, but my boys will not be going overseas, period, for somebody else's war. Unless all of the people that agree to war, if Congress wants to agree to war and all their sons and daughters want to go, then we can all go to the buddy system. We can all go together. But until that happens, my children stay right here for the defense of our country. And that goes for me too. I stay right here for the defense of our country, period. Because if we keep sending everybody everywhere else, what are we going to have for our own country? Enough is enough. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Audrey.
No, you're good. I mean, that's my Audrey Save America in 3-point plan.
I like
And now
it.
we can all go to bed.
Yeah. Now the kids can be present.
That's crazy. So like even right now, I'm watching the Delilah law. They're actually putting it in for states to actually, adopt it, but they're adopting pieces of it, and then they're adding other pieces to it. It's all like, wow, that's where you guys kind of stated at. Now like other states have got it all switched around, and it ain't even what it came out to be. And so it's they like multiple.
Right. And some states on a state level have passed the one item or one topic bill. I know in our state we have it where if you pass legislation in our state house, it has to be one topic. It can't be several. So some states have incorporated that. If we did that on a national level, that would be historic, because if you just print out any bill, any topic that you want, even things like the God Act and Connor's Law, if you print those bills out, you're going to see there's a whole lot of stuff tied to that bill that has nothing to do with trucking.
Yep. Yeah, that's there's one that was going just what was it, the Jason law, that they were kind of pushing around, and they were trying to add other stuff into it. It's like, man, can we just keep it simple?
Yeah, I don't know at this point. Audrey, that's what I've decided finally, though, that I'm just going to stick to tolls And starting today, I'm going to learn everything there is to know about tolls in every single state. I'm just going to stick to tolls. And I feel like if all of us would stick to one thing, we'd be doing great, you know?
Yeah, become a subject matter expert on whatever that one
Yes.
thing is, and be the expert on that. Yeah, it's tough. There's so many things out there that can distract you from finding that, but find the one thing you're passionate about and stick with that. And after you get that one thing mastered, you just keep adding to it. And that's kind of how I got to where I was, and how I do what I do is I started with timber, and that was my thing, and still is my, at the end of the day, timber is my passion, and agriculture is, a quick second behind that. And it is, you just learn everything you can about that topic, and you just build off of that, and then learn how other things affect that. So
Yeah, because that's like even in the trucking industry, you got tanker, you got flatbed, you got dry box. If you try to worry about how to, drive all these trucks instead of just focusing on driving the one truck to get across the finish line and make some money in your pocket, it would be a lot easier than trying to scatter it around. So I agree 100%.
Yeah. So what happened with the Chicago Skyway? What happened there? It got sold to Australia?
Least, not
Leased.
least.
Okay.
So most of your items you're gonna, or most of the toll roads are gonna be, you'll find out they lease them, and they lease them for 30 years. So if they want to do like I said, an infrastructure plan or something that they need the money for, they actually lease it. And that's kind of how they're kind of falling in this area of, well, we're not really double taxing you. We're not, making it a burden on you to go around them, because the roads are built and leased off to, they're the ones that's controlling the money to build the road. Because toll was actually designed to fix that road, that area. Well, now there's been lawsuit after lawsuits that they've been trying to fight, and they say, hey, well, it's unconstitutional. You're getting into our freedom of traveling, because it's going to cost you to go around them. And they've kind of got away with that because driving is an actual right. It's not a law that says that every person has to own a vehicle. So it kind of you could go on foot, so it's not really a trap. But we're seeing that the most of the problem is like, so these roads that you can actually use to get around the toll roads, they're minimum unsafe. I mean, they're going through small towns. I mean, if you look at Elkhart, Indiana is one of the top dangerous cities in the country, and the road to get around the toll actually goes right underneath the bottom of it. So I mean, there's a lot that data does need to be tracked. Like you're saying, with the stop signs and the lights and everything. Matter of fact, I just looked up tonight because I was kind of goofing around. There's actually a study. I can't get nothing for the last year, but the years before, that average fatality accidents happen at a red light, or actually is about 1,000 people a year. So I mean,
Wow.
where's it at? If we could pinpoint it down to being, here's where it is, that's one thing. But there was 980 that were at signs that don't have a stop sign or a light at a year that actually take it. So, and as far as like the how many intersections that you have to go and stop, you can look at that as wear and tear on your truck. I mean, every time you use those brakes, and my thing with the stacking up the taxes, you got your IFTA tax, you have your 2290 tax, you pay an exile tax on tires. Now this all goes to the road infrastructure. There's nothing, this is what it's all supposed to be collected for, whether they're using it for that or not. uh, so you get your road, your IFTA, you get your 2290, you have your exile tax on your tire. Let's see what else. You have the toll tax that all comes out of it. So I mean, you're being, just to go over, let's say for example I-90, you're paying 4 different taxes to go across that same road, where like in Nevada, as you're saying, zero tax. So now all you're paying your 2290, you're only paying your exile tax,
Right.
on your IFTA. So how is it fair for one state to say, hey, we need more money, and we're going to target these main veins? So that's the other thing too. Most toll roads were designed to they were to be on back roads to actually give it to the state. Well, on I-90, that's the main vein that goes from one end of the country to the other end of the country. country. So if you're going to put a toll road in the middle of it and then say that we're not discriminating truckers, because that's one of the things that it says, wherever they put a toll can't be discriminating to any commercial. And some of the rules that they're kind of pulling off is, well, they got the opportunity to go around it if they want to. We're not forcing it. But how do you force this if you have a main 4-lane, interstate that goes through there running 70 mile an hour or even 65 versus going on a road that's going through major cities, got stop signs, got stoplights through it. So those are my kind of topics of why I see that toll roads should be abolished, or even or the trucking or the commercial side of it. We shouldn't have to pay it, and that's everybody. I mean, even if you're a company driver, you say, well, toll roads don't affect me one bit, right? They actually do, because if your company's paying them, that's affecting your pay out of your paycheck. If they can get rid of that, well, now we're going to get your pay up a little bit, because they ain't going to be spending, like I said, what'd you say, 9 cents a mile?
Yeah.
The average over there. So that's 9 cents a mile that they can put in their pocket versus giving it to whomever, an entity that's who we're doing. And that's the thing, Florida. So most of these states that you're seeing that $25 billion a year that they're making, those are the ones that you can see. So there's a thing that's called, some states are non-transparency on it. So like Florida, you actually have to file a piece of paper to the state to see actually how much money they're making on tolls. Oklahoma's another one. There's several of them. So the ones that we can actually see, this the 25 billion is the number that those are your private investors on there. So it could be over $1 trillion. Nobody knows that.
Wow.
And that's definitely it gets into that really complicated gray area of states' rights versus federal rights and who has jurisdiction and all those kinds of things. And so, when I look at someplace like Chicago, and this is something that it goes back to, and I think Vince and you and I've had this conversation multiple times, is that this is state and local government at its finest. That's who's doing this. This isn't being done at a congressional level. These decisions are being made in a city council, a county, or a state government. And so if you want to inflict change on that it makes it easier and harder all in the same aspect, is because many times you have more access to state, local, and federal government, or excuse me, state and local government than you do federal government. So, being proactive and writing a letter to Chicago and saying, hey, this road's a piece of crap and I'm giving you all this money for tolls, like those are the kinds of things that easily inflict change, more so than writing a congressman or whatever, because they're not going to care. What they care about is the state of Illinois coming and asking us for millions of dollars for the federal highway fund. And that's the other thing to take into consideration when you talk about IFTA is that the magical algorithm that is the IFTA, highway transportation funding algorithm. It's kind of like school funding. It's magical. Nobody understands 6 people who allocate it. Because it's really interesting. Some of it, I don't know how. I mean, I know what the formula is, but it doesn't make rational sense to me. I'll be honest with you, because it's not just like A plus B equals C. It's like it's ridiculous. But that's based on state priority. It's based on what's submitted to the transportation board. It's NTSB crashes. I mean, there's all of these factors that go into the highway funding mechanism and the amount of traffic on the road, and what kind of traffic, and all of these kinds of things. And so if there's a section of highway that you're really passionate about changing, whether it be repairs or whether it be getting rid of tolls or whatever, start asking for that information, start requesting that information from NTSB and the National Highway Safety Board and all of that kind of stuff, and start really looking at what that does. And if that's a section of road you drive routinely, you can say, hey, I'm XYZ driver. I drive this all the time. I'm paying XYZ amount of tolls, and it's still a crappy road. It's still dangerous. I'm seeing, how many ever. Those are changes that you can inflict much easier because you have a lot more access to those people. You can pick up a phone and call, Chicago's transportation people, and then you're going to speak to somebody. Somebody that can actually have a change, or somebody that can send you to somebody who makes a change. It's a lot easier to communicate with that person than it is to try to fight, the senatorial transportation committee or stuff like that, you're actually going to get real people because it's a little bit more of a local level of government. And so if you're passionate about tolls and that's something, it's a little bit easier to access your government in regards to that.
Yeah,
Right.
and exactly. Vince's plan is not to go to Washington D.C. with this problem. I think it's more hit the states. And some of them, some of the federal stuff that'll have to get knocked. You'll have to go in there and say a couple because it'd be easier to go into Congress to that represents that state and say, hey, you know what, we've talked. When you get into that problem, you say, hey, you know what, we've talked to your toll road people. We've done this. We've done this. Now we're coming up to you. Bring it back down. You know what I mean? But you got to start at the bottom and work your way up. As you know that. Whether, like I said, talk to the cities and then go up to the state side of it and then come back down.
Yeah, it's I think we're all to the point where it's just getting old. The gaslighting, the lying, the careless spending, the not answering our phone calls, our letters. It's just these people are supposed to be really smart and they're supposed to be representing us. And if you're gonna take all our money, at least be smart enough to make it not recognizable, right? But when you're bouncing all over the road, you're like, wait a minute, I just paid $80 just to enter this state. I'm 1 mile in, I just spent $80. Now I got to spend $400 on an alignment. You would think they would at least take $20 billion and spend 20 million to fix the road so you wouldn't at least notice that. But it's just the greed is just so deep today that I mean that's the problem, right? And every great nation has fallen because of two things: greed and spreading themselves thin. Well, and a third one, not taking care of their people, just spreading out farther and farther. And I think that's what's happening to us. And I hope it. Go ahead.
By no means making excuses for any of that, but what I would say is that I hate to use the analogy, but the squeaky wheel gets greased, and
Yeah.
if the state is not saying to their congressman, hey, we have a road issue or we have a bridge issue or we have a whatever issue, they don't know. They're not driving those roads every day. Usually they're not engaging with that. So again, you don't know what you don't know. And as somebody who's a former congressional staffer, like, you hear all the things, you hear the most horrific things, but what does that priority really look like? And you've only got so many dollars. You only have so many dollars that go back to your state or you've collected from state revenues. And so it's tough. When Washington D.C. tightens their budget, then that falls back down to the states. And when the states tighten their budget, that falls back down to the counties and the city or the county. And when the county tightens their budget, that falls back down to the cities. And so it's a blessing and a curse in the system. So you just have to continue to be that person, that, again, the squeaky wheel gets greased, and just be proactive in doing that.
Well, we're gonna fire up real soon here, and that's what we're going towards. For sure.
What's your thought on like they say they can't be what was the word, discriminating to commercial vehicles, but yet they got them on the main vein of the major interstates, so that's where most travel through. What's your thoughts on those versus?
Well, and I'm a constitutional scholar, arguer. Like, I'm a huge constitutional believer, and I would make the argument that if they're leasing a main thoroughfare to whatever XYZ company and it's directly affecting profits or impeding transportation, I think that's an argument for a constitutional argument about the interstate commerce and all that. I definitely think there's an argument to be made there, but again, somebody has to make the argument. That's usually what it is that it's not until it's forced to really have that conversation, because
2 seconds.
you don't know what you don't know, right? And so and even as somebody who's running for office, there's things about even my own place that I'm running, I don't know all the things, and so I'm going to have to rely on experts in my own area to say, hey, this is our problem with healthcare, or this is our problem with our county roads, or this is our problem. And again, candidates and the government, they don't know what they don't know, so it's our job to educate them on those kinds of things. But no, I absolutely think there's a constitutional argument to be made there about and all that.
Yeah.
Interstate commerce was created
not just for trucks, but it was created for military.
Yep.
That's what it was created for. But here's the thing. All these people that's got these toll roads in these states, that is an interstate. That is an interstate of commerce. It was built by our government. Well, they don't have no right. But here's the thing. They sell just like Indiana and Ohio. They sold that part of their state to another country that didn't have no right to sell it to start with.
So see, how do we enforce that? That's where we need to get to. How do we start enforcing this? Yeah.
And that's the thing. So if they sell the lease, so they get this $1.8 billion, wherever they sell it for, that goes in their general fund. So they're not. That's
Right,
that's that
right.
part where I'm
But then
saying.
they turn around, and every trucker out there, including big companies, every one of them has to pay that heavy highway tax to that state. That means they take that money and they stick it in their damn pocket where nobody else sees it, but then you're gonna still pay that toll across that state. No, that's wrong.
So can we make a citizen's arrest somehow to those people? I'm serious. We have a lot more power than you guys think as an American citizen.
These politicians have sold these interstates that they had no right to sell to start with, because it was built by the people of every state paid for that highway. Every fuel tax, every highway tax, everything. I mean, it goes way deeper than what people think, because I mean, they sold out this country to other countries. I know for a long time. I know.
So wait a minute. Let me say something real quick.
Whole highway of Interstate 80.
So if they sold it illegally, wouldn't that mean that we can lock them up and take back what they should not have sold in the first place? Like if somebody else sells my house right now, you had no right to sell that. You're not me. So if the title was somehow given to someone else, that's fraudulent. I can get that title back. All I have to do is go to a judge, show him all the proper paperwork, my identification, whatever, proof that I bought the house. And that person's not only going to get fraud charges, get in trouble, but I will then get my title back. So how do we do that? That's what I need to figure out, because I'll do it. I'll go wherever I need to go in this country. I'll make a citizen's arrest tonight. I'll drive straight there. I'll make a citizen's arrest. I'll go to the sheriff's office. Hey, follow me to this house.
Well, see, there's the problem. This started back in the 70s. So, I mean, how many politicians are still alive from the 70s when they created toll roads?
Well, the interstate system actually started in 1956 under the Federal Highway Act.
Yep.
So the problem is, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, so the other issue is that I think you're onto something. Can I just tweak your idea just a little bit?
Something.
I think that, so just so everybody kind of understands, the cost was split 90% federal government, 10% states for the construction of interstates. He's absolutely correct. It was built for military purposes. That was the purpose for doing it. So the interstate system, I put this in the comments earlier, is that the interstates were built for military travel. That's absolutely correct. So the problem is, instead of, yes, you can sort of engage in forcing it. It's called a statement of claim. And you file a statement of claim against a government entity that has wronged you. And each state has their own liability purposes, meaning that, so like in my state, I give my state 180 days. I go in and I say, okay, my state, you have done this, and this. It is illegal because of this, and this. And I cite state law and I cite local, I cite all the state law and say, this is how you violated my rights. And if they don't fix it in 180 days, then I can bring suit against my state or my jurisdiction or whatever I'm suing to be able to rectify that.
Well, we're not just going to sue. It's time for jail and lawsuit. It's time for all of it.
So the problem is that criminality and civil cases are very different.
That's true. That's true.
And so Although I, you know,
You're like, Vince, you're going too deep here. I can't talk that fast.
no, you're good. I just want to, I'm not arguing that it's not wrong. The problem is I don't think it would meet the bar of criminal, because of like the victim and like all of the things, right?
So we sue every penny. We take everything they've ever earned off what they illegally sold that belongs to us, we the people, and then we distribute it. You know, we give 2 pennies per citizen or whatever it is, you know? Robin Hood.
I mean, it may not be the best.
Back to that song. You have to go all the way back to that song with the rubber duck says we ain't gonna pay no tolls.
That's right.
Because I mean, yeah, I mean that's when it all started trickling in. Was back in the 70s. I was a kid. My stepdad drove a truck and all that, and it was all in there then. And I'm like, really? I mean, everybody didn't understand the process of what they were doing at that time because nobody watched politicians like they do now.
They didn't have to. They didn't have to back then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, you got to understand back then there wasn't no TVs. They was like able to hide stuff, put stuff away in little boxes that we never seen, you know.
Right.
And politicians sitting there just shooting you a line of crap.
Right. Right.
Well, that's what I'm seeing most of it. If they can get it in the general fund, they got it in the big pot. You know, so if you could take all these small things and leave it, so like a lot of this, like the infrastructure bill and stuff like that they actually get to the state, they'll put like 10%. I mean, to me, I always say it's like the guys that are, you know, raising money for the kids. Some of them are good. Some of them they take 30% and off the top, and that pays for the guy that's doing the talking. Another 10% goes for the telecommunications that they had to use for, and then the kid that they're trying to raise money for only gets, you know, pennies on the dollar. And that's the way our government's working. You know, they go, okay,
That's
we're
the
going
same way with these funds you see on TV talking about wounded warriors. Well, they're gonna send $1. If you send $13, they're gonna send $1 to that, but then they're gonna spread it out amongst everybody else. I've seen that.
You know what? All these supposedly smart people have literally, in my opinion, they've ruined my life. They've ruined my pursuit of happiness. So I'm going to make their life hell, and I'm going to try to do whatever I can to get justice for everyone. And I hope everybody joins me because enough is enough. Like I look over and I look at a family picture that, you know, we went to some amusement park 7, 8 years ago, and I'm like, I can't even afford to do that. I can't afford to buy my kids bikes, but I work 90 hours a week, and I'm not crying, bitching, complaining, none of that. I've never asked anybody for anything. I don't need the government's help. I just want the government to get their boot off my throat so I can actually go make my own money and support my own family with a living wage, not crumbs, so they can sell our shit to other countries. Enough's enough. So, okay, you want to destroy my pursuit of happiness? Guess what? I'm coming after every single one of you. It's that simple. Citizens arrests for anybody and everybody that has violated the law. You know why? Because they do it to me. What happens if I go outside right now and I violate the law? They're not gonna sue me, or they're not gonna have pity on me, or just say, "Oh, don't do it again." No, they're gonna throw my butt in jail, right? Take everything I have.
Exactly.
So we got to do the same to them.
Where's that money? How many people that actually? I mean,
Sorry.
you see people that does idiot crimes and they have no bail. They just get out on the street. But now, if one of us did something, we'll go to jail, and then we're going to bail out. Where does that money go? How many people actually pay for a bail? Hold on.
That's my argument every time I go in front of the county commissioner meeting. Is
Exactly.
something like that be fucked up and thrown away. You know, every time I'm like,
here's the problem. Why did you have to pay a bail? That means that you was already proven guilty of something that you didn't do, but you had to pay a bail.
I never thought of that before.
Why did you have to pay a bail for something that you ain't never even went to trial for?
All revenue. All revenue.
Exactly. I got a years ago, I was leased to this other company, and I was traveling Ohio Turnpike. I got straight pipes on my truck. One cop. I come by, pulled me over on Ohio Turnpike on 80. He says, "You got straights?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I got straights." He goes, "Well, it's illegal in the state of Ohio." Well, I said, "No, it's not." He said, "Well, it's discrepancy." I said, "In other words, you don't like it."
So
you
it hurt his feelings. You didn't violate the law. You hurt his feelings.
Exactly. That's where that word come in. In other words, he wrote me a ticket for $108 for loud exhaust. But while he was writing that ticket, I bet you there was 50 other trucks come by within eastbound and westbound that had louder pipes than I did. It was just that
Here's one.
I looked at him and I told him, I said, "You know what?" He said, "What?" I said, "You ain't no different than a revenue." I said, "All you are is a revenue man." He goes, "I ain't no revenue man." I said, "Oh, hell yeah, you are." I said, "Because you just want to take money out of my pocket to put in your city budget. So you're going to write me a ticket." I said, "You're a revenuer, buddy. Whether you like it or not, you're a revenuer."
Here's another one for you. How you like doing the toll roads, and then you get on the toll road and it says all trucks must stay in right lane.
Right.
And
Exactly.
you can't even get over in the left lanes. You know, like
exactly. But we're paying more than they are.
Absolutely.
That's just like going over George Washington Bridge. They send us up top, they send the cars down bottom. Well, you got cars getting on there. Well, they don't pay like $25-$30, maybe. I don't know what they pay, but we're gonna have to pay $125 just to go over George Washington Bridge. That's got damn holes in it.
You know what? You know how? Have you ever calculated out how much
the damn bridge?
You know how much it costs you a foot to go across the George Washington Bridge?
How much?
It's 2.5 cents a foot. And when you take that money and you divide it out to how long the bridge is, it's 2.5 cents a foot to cross.
So does everybody here see how we're funding our own demise? We're building our own prisons, our own invisible bars. You just don't see them, but they're there and they're getting stronger by the day.
Exactly. They're already there.
They're already there. We're the dog. You heard the dog on a chain theory, right? Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
The George Washington Bridge, the revenue it makes is $1 million a day. A day. That's what they make. $1 million a day to go across the George Washington Bridge. And that's all traffic.
And they don't do shit. They don't
Gonna be a little long, so we're playing games. So
It's one of the worst bridges out there as far as the potholes and everything else.
Man, it's a cesspool. You go across that bridge, and they ain't nothing but Walmart bags. There's people living under the damn bridges. And it's just trash. I mean, it's just pure out trash. But I'm like thinking, why are these people living under the bridge as much money? I mean, they could put them in a 5-star hotel, man.
Hey, Sean, you said $1 million a day for the George Washington?
George Washington Bridge is $1 million a day in revenue is what they make. Yep. And that's the thing. And they only charge one way. So if they were charging two ways, you know,
Oh yeah,
they only charge to come in. Yeah, it's $1 million revenue a day.
How much of that million do you think goes back to the people, or do you think how much of that million do you think just goes to like a few families?
Well,
I don't know.
New York got sued about that. New York got
$444 million. Then
what did it do to them? They got sued.
So that goes back. But here's the thing with the George Washington Bridge, and I lived in Manhattan for 18 months of my early teens, early 20s. Is that goes back to Port Authority, and it's split between the George Washington Bridge, Lincoln Tunnel, Holland Tunnel, the PATH train, JFK, New York, LaGuardia, and the ports and the tunnels. It's a cat. It may be a cash cow, but the thing is that it is supposed to be used for bridge and tunnel maintenance, airport modernization, port operations, and the transit system and the capital projects. That's what it goes back to.
So you mean the streets should be lined with 32 karat gold. You're saying an inch thick is basically.
I mean, you know,
Thank you.
And do you need the keys? 1.7 billion.
Did mom need me?
She doesn't need you to right now. She was fine.
and that's what's crazy. It's all like, wow, you're paying 2.5
There you go.
a foot to go across it.
Yeah. I like that.
I'm not the
I mean,
see, you guys are laughing. I'm not though. Like I'm serious. I'm done. I don't guys listen. I don't even want to start. I struggle every single day to start my truck. I'm not mocking anybody. I'm just saying I struggle. I seriously look at my keys and I struggle. Like, why start the truck? I'm gonna work my ass off today, 14 hours, and I'll earn about 30 minutes of it. So 13 and a half hours of my life, which is very important to me, right? And it's the same for you. 13 and a half hours of your day is very special to you and your family, but you're only going to see 30 minutes of it. By the time it's all said and done, and you pay all these permits and fees and BS this and BS that, and get gaslighted that we need this and we need that, there's nothing at the end of it. But we just keep doing it. Sorry. Go ahead.
So they got sued. They got sued $444 million. Did it stop them? They just wrote that out of the check and kept on collecting. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
you know, if we would have been sued for $444 million, we would have went bankruptcy. We would have been, you know, that would have been the end of that. But
I mean,
you know, if they
that's
can,
kind of like years. That's kind of like years ago. There's a company. I live in Mississippi. There's a company I hauled for, and everybody knows it. But they got caught up having illegals in their company. It was all over the news, national news. This was back in 2006 or 7, and they had over 650 illegal. One of the largest United States busts in history. And it was done right here in Mississippi. You can look it up on Paul Harvey. Because
Wow.
I heard it the next day while I was getting unloaded because my agent called me and she said, "You hear what just happened?" I said, "Yeah, just listen to Paul Harvey." She said, "It did." Well, I went back in there 2 or 3 days later. It literally looked like a forklift sale because all the forklifts was parked and they didn't have no workers. And he says, "You know what? Maybe now they'll hire legal citizens of this country." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "I can bet you $100 he was on the phone because it was supposed to have been $10,000 a pop for each illegal." I bet he was on the phone, which our governor at that time was Haley Barbour. And I said, "Yeah, I bet you $100 he's on the phone. Say, Haley, we need to work out a deal."
Oh man.
and that's the thing.
So vote him out.
That's
Vote
what
him out, especially in the state level.
He's
You
out.
have so
He's
much.
out.
Well, no, I'm just saying though. It's like I keep seeing in the comments we're slaves and we're all this. Vote them.
I don't think that works anymore though. We're voting for red or blue, and they're both parts of the same bird. They literally are. Both look at everything Trump said. America first, America first, America first. He said the other day we only lost 7 soldiers. That's what he said about 7 human American lives.
But that's at a
You,
federal level. We are talking about state and local.
I think we're past that point. They all just gaslight me. I still haven't gotten my meeting with my congressman. They gaslight. They waste our time.
I guarantee if you pick up your phone and you call your county commissioner or you call your mayor,
Mhm.
you're going to get a meeting. The problem is that when you start at the top and try to work down, it doesn't work that way. And I've said this, and I will continue to say this. You have to start local and work your way up. You have to build that rapport to be able to get through those doors. And if, especially when you're talking about tolls and you're talking about highways and all that, that is a state and local level, and those people are very accessible. You can go to their meetings. Those are public meetings. Those people live in your neighborhood. Those people attend your church. Those people are in your grocery stores. They don't have the staff and the gatekeepers that congressmen do. They don't have those kinds of people. That isn't at that level. It's when you get to that DC level, absolutely they do. But at
Yeah.
a local and state level, they are much more accessible.
Yeah, they got 10 minutes of talking for open.
I believe you, Audrey. I know that's the way to do it, but I think we're past that point. I don't think that's gonna help Americans overnight, which is what we need. We need something immediately, not something that's gonna take, another 6 months. Oh yeah, okay, you talk to me now. All right, let's get together in 2 weeks, or let's get together in a month. Let's talk about it. And then they ask me something like, hey, how heavy is your truck? How much does your truck weigh? Which we all know they're just gaslighting me, right? I've talked to many truckers. Every time they talk to a representative, they ask them a really dumb question. Like, how many wheels are on your truck? And you know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get away from a subject like, why are we paying so much money in tolls? Because if they send you down this rabbit hole and they send you down that rabbit hole, it's the same thing that we do to our kids, right? Oh, just wait 1 minute. We know that it's not going to be 1 minute, right? It's probably going to be an hour before you get to whatever the question was, most times. I'm just saying what you're saying is right, Audrey. I know what you're saying is correct. I think we're past that. I don't have, go ahead. Sorry, Sean.
Well, you can go to states like New York, Connecticut. Let me think. Ohio's got it, and I know Indiana has it, and even Oregon has it. And they charge you, even though you pay your fuel tax in that state, then they're gonna charge you. Like Oregon's, I think 17 cents a mile. I think Connecticut's 17 cents a mile for every mile you run in that state.
Yes, you have to.
Can I read something to you guys?
That's wrong, man. That's
I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. Some people wrote it. It's called the Declaration of Independence. They wrote this July 4th, 1776. Says here in the second paragraph that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. I can read that again if you want. I didn't write it. I'm not I'm not asking for violence or any form of craziness here. I'm just reading this thing called the Declaration of Independence. So I don't know. I think our forefathers were onto something 250 years ago. Do you know that in the last 250 years, we have only not been in wars for 16 years? Are you guys aware of that? 16 years out of 250. How many years at peace do you think China's been? And they're a communist country, or Russia for that matter.
Just like Thomas Jefferson said, he said, "I give you a republic if you can keep it." That's it. That's exactly what he said. It's one of his speeches that he give out. I give you a republic if you can keep it.
They don't even that paragraph I just read, they don't even teach that in our schools anymore.
No, they don't.
No.
They don't.
So
Every state requires high school seniors to take government and civics, and some they do teach it. They just may not teach it at a younger level, but every state requires government, civics, and senior level.
Exactly. They just a lot of schools kind of whitewash a lot of this stuff, and they don't teach you the whole thing about. I mean, I'm from Mississippi. I learned history. I learned history. I loved history, and history talked about the Civil War and all that, but it brought it up as the battle of the states. That's what it was. It was actually the battles of the states. Then it was called the battle between the blue and the gray, and then it was called the Civil War. The Civil War was brought later on in the war, because that's when they start talking about rights of slavery and abolish slavery. And there's a quote with General Grant, and it's still in the museum to this day, where Washington Post asked him why hadn't he freed his slaves. He said good help was hard to find. This was 2 years after the Civil War.
Right.
It's just, I mean, politicians have been crooked for years, and they ain't gonna stop. I don't know.
I think it's human nature. It's human nature. You know, greed and corruption. It's human nature.
She's got this. I mean, like I said, I run into politicians on local levels. I mean, you got some good ones and you got some bad ones, and then you got to wash the table and restart over. I mean, on a smaller level, it's pretty easy to do that. But when you get up into, your congressmen and all that stuff, I mean, those guys are, for example, Christy Noem, our governor here, she's got $2 million sitting in a bank account right now, and she's done run for for office election. So there's just $2 million sitting in an account that if she doesn't run for anything, it stays there. So it's it just depends on if they're going in for their heart. Like I always say, county commissioners shouldn't be paid $40,000 a year. I think they should be at a low level because they can actually keep their regular jobs and do everything else. They're only meeting once a month. Why do you think they should get $40,000 just to come for a meeting once a month? And that's just my opinion. That if you're going to do something in the politician world, it should be voluntarily. We have volunteer fire departments that go out and fight fires voluntarily. They don't get paid. So why should a politician be paid that much?
How do you spell tyrannical? Anybody know? I bet Audrey knows. Okay.
Tyrannnical. Tyrannical.
Why did I think I? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We can't keep living like this. This isn't a way to live. So.
Her cousin,
I think that some of it, the work on the county levels, go to the state levels, and collect every data that we can say that somebody's been there, somebody's talked about it, and nothing has changed, and it's just going to show as the truck drivers. I mean, we're the biggest in the trucking industry as a whole. That hey, nothing can get changed, nothing can change. Something's going to happen because they got other eyes on the other parts of the industry that's saying, hey, it's not going to go. So if you're going to open up eyeballs, that's how you do it and collect everything possible. That's the data,
Right. Social media is perfect. All you have to do is make a video on it every time, as you're going, you're logging your own, it's your own personal record. You just got to look back a month. What was I doing a month ago? There's the video. I went here. I asked for this. I tried to talk to this person. I did that. So we're going to start rocking and rolling real soon. Real soon. We're going to turn up the heat real soon.
2015, me and my wife was coming out of Wisconsin on 39 and 90. I don't know if y'all probably traveled that highway. Y'all probably have. Well, 90 goes to the left, 39 peels off to the right. Well, I get in the right lane because I'm going 39. Well, there's a truck come by me right there at the curve, and I'm talking about, I told her, I said, he ain't gonna make that curve. I told her, I said, he ain't gonna make that curve. Well, he hit the curve when he did, where 24 and 39 connects right there for just a second. He flipped that truck over, went across, went in the median. Good thing there wasn't another car coming. Well, there was two people that was behind me in a pickup truck, and they were big old cornbread fed boys. I mean, big old boys.
Wow.
Well, I get out, get my fire extinguisher. Well, that one dude, he picks that other dude up out of that truck, and he gets him on the ground. Well, then an ambulance had just pulled over right there with us. He hadn't even had his lights on. And that little boy, he had some skin up marks on his head. And he had a cell phone on, and he was sitting there gibbering, and you couldn't understand the word he was saying. And then he was walking off just like he was going to walk on off, Well, that big old boy grabbed him. I said, sit down. I told him, I said, well, welcome to trucking, dude. He said, I ain't in trucking.
Oh my gosh.
I said, dude, This is what we got right here. I said they brought illegals over here driving trucks. This was in 2015. They had all these illegals down. You go to Minnesota, and you can go down to what they call Emerald Grove Heights. It ain't nothing but non-speaking Somalians driving trucks that can't read no signs. They can't do nothing. But guess what they got? They got a contract with FedEx Ground.
Wow.
Hey,
That's
Rocky,
a fact.
Rocky's in the group. Vince, can you bring him up? I
I-
want to see what he's.
I'm so tired of being sold out. I'm done. I'm done being sold out. Because here's the thing. If all hell breaks loose and chaos and craziness happens while everybody else is running away, guess who's going to stay here to pick up the pieces and go through hell with this country? Us, right? True Americans. We don't run, period. We stay right here. Yeah, we take the best. I heard you, Sean, and I will in 1 second. We take the best of the best. Oh, we take the best of the best in the world and we take them out of their country and we bring them here to make ours stronger. I don't agree with that. Leave them in their own country so they can make their country great. Isn't that what patriotism is all about? Love your country, love your people, love your family, love your God. Okay?
They can't make their country great because it's more corrupt than our country is. And now our country's getting corrupt.
And who did it? We did it. You know what? Audrey and a lot of other people, it ask Audrey, it took them months to get that through my thick skull. That it's our fault. I had a hard time swallowing that. Hey, look in the mirror. Rocky would say it all the time. Look in the mirror, buddy boy. Look in the mirror. And I was like, you're such a jerk. But he's right. And Audrey's right. Look in the mirror, right? We're the problem. That's why I'm saying it's time to make citizens arrests. You break the law, you're sued unbelievable. We're gonna drain your account or we're gonna throw you in jail. And then we're gonna replace you by somebody else. Why? Because the American citizen has the most power, not the government. The government is just an extension of us. So what does that say about us?
We got one clean senator in our state, and that's my ex-wife's first cousin. And he's a good-hearted senator, and he actually beat out years ago. He beat out the comment, and then he wanted a rematch. Said he had to have a runoff. Oh man, it was all over the news.
Wow.
Rocky's still.
It was all over.
I just wanted to ask him a question. Maybe he can just type it in. I was wanting to know if he knew what the exile tax on tires are, being he's in that industry. If it was based off of like just in Florida by itself, or if it's like a national average. I know he buys a lot of tires and stuff, so I wanted to see what his data showed. I know he said he couldn't come up, but maybe you can just type it in there if it's a national thing or if it's just goes by state.
Oh, there it is. More taxes. You know?
That's a federal tax. When you buy a tire, I said it's federal.
Yeah. It's nuts, man. You know, I lived in Illinois for what? Go ahead. Sorry.
You have a blowout on the road, boy, it's gonna cost you about $900 for one tire.
Well, and it's going to go up, being fuel going up. So that's a market that's going to change with the oil. So it could be, but it's going to be.
I don't understand why they jacking our fuel prices up, because it ain't got nothing to do with this war. I mean, we got enough oil.
Because they can. Because we won't do anything about it. We just complain about it instead of action.
In our own country, we got enough oil to supply this country for 25 years without drilling another drop.
Well, I think I think we're smart, right? Because we save our reserves, we save our oil if there's a world war, right? So isn't that kind of smart in a way? It's better to use our money to buy more not saying that the fuel prices are right, but wouldn't it be better to buy more expensive fuel and save our own fuel. So if we actually need it for the defense of America, we keep it. With that, I agree. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying.
The same people that's drilling oil here is drilling oil in other countries too.
Oh, Florida says they're going to start drilling in California. Huh? I didn't hear that.
Okay, so now we're into something I know a little bit about.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I better get the fire hose ready.
If oil was only that simple, keep in mind too that it has to do with who owns the leases and where that's drilled and the drilling companies and all that kind of stuff. We're not holding oil for national defense. We're holding oil because of profitability. Like, I just want to clear that up right now, is it has zero to do with national security. This has to do with profitability. They will not drill if it's not profitable. It's why we're not drilling in the Bakken. It's why we're not drilling. And everybody's saying, oh, we're going to drill and we're going to do this. It is not going to happen. They keep saying they're going to drill in all these places because there's this little teeny weeny bit of information called the Equal Access to Justice Act, also known as the EAJ. It is the same reason why we're not cutting a tree. It's the same reason why we're not mining coal. And it is the same reason why we will not be punching any other wells. Until that is addressed, and again, everybody buying into political propaganda going, oh, we're going to drill and it's going to drop oil prices. It's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen.
Does it have anything to do with refining it also, or no?
No, it has nothing to do with refining. It literally has to do with the fact of you can't put a stake for an oil well right now or a mine or whatever because the EAJA. And that gets into all of the environmental impact statements and all of that kind of stuff and leases and OPEC. And I mean, that could be a whole live in itself trying to explain all that.
So Rocky just said tire costs will go up 12 to 14% for the oil prices next month. Rocky, I'm glad you said that because I need new drives, brother. And I was gonna wait till like June or July. I could probably get away with it till June or July, but I'm gonna go buy my drive tires. I'm gonna go buy them next week and just put them in the garage. Thank you for just saving me. What's 12% of $5,000? I don't know. What is that? $4,000, $400, $500, something like that. Thank you. See, Rocky's awesome, man. Just said now I own a steak dinner for sure. Fuel surcharge. Florida says fuel surcharge equals money. Yeah, I know the problem though, Florida, is just it's getting to the point where nobody has a living wage anymore. I get it. The government needs money to go play in the world and do things, but it's at the expense of us now. It's at the expense of our pursuit of happiness, of my pursuit of happiness, and that makes me angry. And enough is enough. Enough is enough. You want to destroy my pursuit of happiness? All right, let's do it. Let's just be in hell and let's just destroy each other's lives. Let's go. Let's do it. We're already there. Why not? Forget the family 8x10s and going to Disneyland and buying swim trunks. We'll just tear each other up. I guess that's the point. I don't know. What are we doing?
Well,
Vince, you said you had an email address.
Oh yeah. Hang on one second. I gotta pause this real quick.
how old some of y'all are. I'm 60 years old. My uncle, I had one that was a company man for ExxonMobil, and I had one that was a tool pusher for pool drilling. Well, we'd all have Christmas together, right? And they would get talking about oil prices and stuff. This is back in the 70s, man. And they would be talking about the oil prices and all that. Well, my uncle that was a company man with Exxon, he'd hear that word fossil fuel at the dinner table. Oh boy, he get so mad he'd throw his plate down and tell everybody. He said, "Let me explain something to y'all. There ain't nobody getting no oil off of no damn dinosaur. So let's make that clear right now before we even start this dinner."
Today. All right. So listen up, everybody. We have an email. So any truck drivers and or any people that drive around tolls, that avoid tolls, we want to know what roads you're going on. We want to know how many stoplights you're having to pass. What else? What else can you think of, Sean? How many stop signs you pass? What cities do you go through? And do you think it's more profitable by avoiding the tolls, or do you think it's more profitable in your small business or small carrier to just eat the toll and just go on the interstate? Trucking, sorry, yeah, it's trucking the USA today at gmail.com. So once again, trucking the USA today at Gmail. So if you guys want to go to that and DM us, email us, whatever, we're trying to get statistics together to figure that out.
And then you have like don't you have like a Facebook page too as well? That'll have all the information for most of it.
I do,
That
yeah.
found along the way that they can actually do the research that are on factual information.
You must have been on my last live. Yeah, hang on.
You go
Let me get
across
that.
31 in Indiana, off of 65 and run it all the way to Akron, Ohio. Well, not Akron. Oh, somewhere in Ohio, you come back out like Chillicothe or something. Not Chillicothe, but what is that? Can't think the name of it. Brings you back on 71.
So, so the Facebook page, you guys, same thing. Trucking the USA Today. So just Trucking the USA Today is on Facebook, and at Gmail, you guys can go give all your stats if you feel inclined to do so. We would really appreciate it. I think I'm going to within the after Matt's mid-April, I think I'm going to start in Michigan City. I'm going to get a load to Chicago, and I'm going to drive empty to Michigan City, Michigan, and I'm going to drive the US 20 all the way to Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm going to try to mark it down too and see what you guys come up with. So trucking the USA Today at Gmail, and there's a Facebook page for that. So we'd appreciate it, you guys. Okay.
30 or 31.
Yeah, and then there's guys that can run up 95. There's toll roads in 33 states to pick. Nebraska. So I was waiting for somebody to say that Nebraska doesn't have a toll road because I had to question it like 3 times, but they actually have a toll bridge, which makes them a toll road. That's down below Omaha, Nebraska. So
Where's that at?
that one's on. You had to quote me that, didn't you? I've been across it several times. It brings you into, is it something? I think it's Piedmont that it brings you into the town. Basically, if you get off of I-29, was it 1, 2? I think it's the third exit past Omaha, and you turn right, and it'll bring you over that toll road. It's or toll bridge. It's actually one of the old see-through bridges, so you can actually look down when you're going over it. It's just a piece of metal grate, basically.
So
Highway in Nebraska.
See, now you're gonna have to go down to Nebraska and get a load just so you know where it's at, huh?
Yeah. That's it. I'm going to go find it.
Wild Child says sometimes it's not worth the hassle to avoid tolls. So Wild Child, I know you have a lot of experience. If you would be inclined to do so, we want those stats, please. We need those stats for all. It's for the good of all of us to figure that out.
The company that I was leased 2 years ago, they wind up paying all the tolls.
Well, that's the thing. So most of these companies
run
are
the East
paying.
Coast a lot. Yeah, we was running the toll roads a lot, and we just had to turn in our receipts. Well, then they wind up giving us a toll pass. All we have to do is go through the thing, and
But you think
I mean, I spent over $350 in 1 week on the East Coast.
Exactly. That's what it costs. Chicago to New York with the George Washington, it's $400-500 now. And you can't get that from brokers anymore. I don't know for a fact because there's no 371.3 going around. Our FMCSA rule that should be given to us. We're not getting that. So I would assume, I don't know this for a fact, but I would think brokers are probably shoving that that charge in their pocket as well, just like the stop pay and everything else that they feel like they're entitled to, you know?
Have y'all seen that? What do you call his name? Sergio on TikTok. Just
Sergio,
books loads. Yeah, books loads for his people.
that does sound familiar, Sergio. I mean, I think that's a common name for uh what country is it that has a lot of brokers? Syria? Is it Syria? Syria has a lot of brokers. And they have the Texas numbers to disguise themselves that they're in the US, but they're not in the US.
He's here in the United States, but I think he's Russia. I think he's from Russia, but he's here in the United States.
Are you sure he's here?
Well, shows on TikTok he's here. I don't know if
Yeah, he's probably lying. There's a lot of brokers and even carriers that are outside the US.
Yeah, and they quote loads going up to New York and all that, and he's like $4. They said $4 a mile, and he say tolls, and he says I'm not sending my truck up there if you're not gonna pay this. Blah 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 blah, and they hang the phone. About 30 minutes later, they call him back. Like,
Yeah, you are surrounded by toll.
Yeah. Yeah, toll roads will kill a truck driver. Heartbeat. That's for years I wouldn't run up there, and that company out at least two, they run up there a lot. And then I finally told them, I said, I ain't doing it no more. And they like, what do you mean you ain't doing it no more? I said, I'm not paying tolls, dude. I said, I'm sorry. I said, that's money out of my pocket. I said, these people know they getting this stuff. I said, you can charge it back to them.
Well, and that's the sad part. When it's 9 cents a mile to go across there, 9 cents a mile extra. You know, that's a lot, you know, and then you add everything else on top of it. That's not adding, like I said, the IFTA and everything else that you can stack the fees on. What are we really paying going across there? You know, is it 10, 15 cents? Is it 20 cents just to go across the road that was built? And like you said, it was built back in the day by the hardworking American people. And now we're going to sell it out to different countries because that state needed $1.8 billion to fix something that was in relative to the road. You know,
That's what I'm saying. And Sean, it's not just trucking. It's like every industry, almost any business idea that you can come up with. And trust me, I've tried to come up with a few the last couple years. It's like after you add all the taxes, the permits, the fees for this, the fees for that, to be in business, it's not worth it to be in business. You're putting in all the energy. Your your time on the earth is being flushed down the toilet, and you're not even making a living wage, but you're a small business owner. And it's getting worse, and it's getting worse by the year. So we, the people, we've got to do something. If we all don't get involved, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. They probably laugh at these TikToks. They probably laugh at all of us like, they're not going to do anything. Well, I'm going to try to make an example.
The insurance companies involved in the whole mess too. I mean, even the insurance companies are involved in it.
Yeah. Oh, we could go on and on. Yeah.
I mean, they're all involved in it. Everybody's got their hands in some politician's pocket.
We could go on and on all night about it, but until there's action, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change, Otis. And I don't mind being the first one that tries to make an impact legally, non-violently, just like they're being smart and creating more laws against us. We can create laws to take them out of power. Like Audrey's saying, vote them out as one. We can do this.
There's already laws to do that, but are they enforced? Nope, they're not enforced. I mean,
you know, it's just like I was talking to a guy earlier today. If you expose them and you call them out, and everybody does it, there's going to be change. I mean, look what happened in Minnesota. You know, one kid went up there with a camera and was just knocking on doors and opening.
Exactly.
So why can't we do that in the trucking industry? We open up every single door and turn every rock over, find the answers, pull the data up, and you're going to make change. You know,
yeah.
Instead of all of us trying to do 1,000 different things in the industry if we just focus on one thing, each person, and stay in your lane. You know what I mean? That's the kind of way it works. Stay in your lane. Somebody go after this part of it. Somebody wants to
Yes.
transparency. Let them do it. Support them 100%. But if you can get into one group and just ride with it, you're going to make a change to it. And the best way to do it is all factual information. Start at the bottom, work your way up to the top. If go to the top, go back to the bottom, and restart over. Just once you have the data and we show American people that, we started at the county commission level, then we went up to the state level, you went up to the federal level, and nothing got changed, and we're restarting it again, people are going to start saying, hey, you know what? Something is not right. We have a problem. And you're going to get other people that's going to stand up and say, hey, let's help make a change. So
Yes.
that's
Just so everybody knows, I got to get going. A 5-minute warning. I got to get going. But Dan, what's going on? Long time no see. Welcome in. Are you there? We can't hear you. All right, maybe you're. Oh, now you're on mute. Otis, so what do you think? What's something we can do, like literally within a week, to make our lives great again in the trucking industry? Oh, there he is. How's it going?
still nothing.
Can't hear you.
We can't hear you, brother.
See, and we want autonomous trucks, and he can't even speak to us on the internet. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah.
We can get on the moon, but this guy can't talk on TikTok.
Come on, Dan. He's the insurance man.
How's it going, man?
There we go. We can hear you. How are you? Good, man. How are you?
Doing, man. I'm doing, hanging in there,
Yep.
The rest of us. But no, I heard the other guy talking about insurance. Look, that's just another subject of reform that needs, and I'm aware of it. Just because I'm an insurance agent doesn't mean I agree with everything, right? So, and I see it every day, and I see the rates going up, and I see 8 trucking insurance programs that we had 12 months ago that we no longer have now.
Yep.
Really, really, really good rates. 12.5, 12.5 for a new venture in California. You're not going to beat that anywhere else, but it's just another part of needing reform, it's just like the brokers and transparency and everything else, it's not just one thing, it's a bunch of things all together, but if
By design. By design. Yeah.
by design. But even 2021, when you guys were making $4 or $5 a mile, right? The gas prices, fuel prices weren't where they were right now, and we weren't talking about insurance rates because we had better programs back then, right? And even if the prices back then were what they are now, at $5 or $6 a mile, you guys, we still probably wouldn't be talking about it because there would be enough money for you to be able to operate and make a living at that point. People were doing it left and right back then, right? Growing like crazy. But the thing is, I wanted to jump on tonight.
It goes all the way. Now you're an insurance man. It goes all the way back to these companies. I got a '97 Kenworth. That's what I drive. A '97 Kenworth. They
those are good trucks.
Yeah, exactly. Here's what I'm saying. They won't insure an older truck because they can't be ELD compatible. Because here it goes. It goes all the way back to the insurance company. That's where they pushed the ELD on people that had 2001 and all that. It was all to do with insurance. It started with Warner Trucking. I know that for a fact. That it started with Warner Trucking because they was having so many accidents, and everybody like, well, so Warner created the ELD where they could find out where every truck was in their system. They could pull it up that quick. Well, then they pushed it to the other companies, and they said, well, we can get these big carriers to say, well, you got to have an ELD.
Yeah.
Or they can't be insured. And that's because the insurance companies are sticking money in their pockets to make these people go out and buy newer trucks when they really don't have to. It's all about money, man.
Would you say the insurance companies charge more if you run out East Coast versus if you were to stay in the West Coast area where there's not enough, where there ain't a lot of population?
Not really, man. No, most of the programs that are out there, they're Progressive, Geico, companies like that are gonna rate the crap out of you no matter what on everything, where you're going and all that. But the majority of the programs are not Geicos and Progressives. The majority of the programs are surplus line programs, and they're just private programs, right? And they rate based on per unit rate, right? So it's not so much based on where you're going. I don't even write, honestly, guys. I don't even write in the Northeast because I don't have any markets in the Northeast to write with. You have Progressive and you have Geico, and that's it, right?
Wow.
It's hold on, I gotta grab my charger before we die here. But what I wanted to jump on here and tell you guys was, there is something that my agency and a couple other people that we're partnering up with are doing right now. We're in talks right now to build a program. It's not something I can't say much about it right now, but we're in talks right now to have a program built that's going to get rid of a lot of these things that are making you guys' lives a lot harder than they should be. There's still going to be, of course, underwriting and things like that that you guys will have to go through. But the whole purpose of this, is to try and help you guys out. We have some potential backers of the program financially, because to get a program started, runs about $40 million.
One more question.
Just to,
One more question. Would you guys insurance autonomous trucks?
Yeah, I have no idea how they're going to do that. I don't know.
That's the question I've been asking everybody. How's that going to insure?
He brings some pretty powerful questions, doesn't he? Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, you're going to see Progressive. You're going to see Progressive being billions and billions of dollars, because they're the only person that's actually going to probably insure autonomous trucks. Because let's face it, Progressive will basically, if you got a heartbeat and can move your fingers, you're going to pay more, but they'll insure you.
Wow. I didn't even think of that, Sean. There's more savings. Go ahead. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah. Those companies all have millions or billions of dollars in investor money, right? So even if they can't find a company to insure, they can self-insure, right? And that's the only way I see it happening. Like, there is no market that I know of, and I've been doing this for 15 years. There's no market that I know that will insure them.
See, well, and that's the thing I'm finding out. Like, so like when they were actually in Congress and they were actually talking against the transportation board, they were saying that the people that are actually writing the software for autonomous, it's basically gonna be the same thing. So when you sign into your cell phone, whatever you do with it, that's your problem. You got to face the charges that you done. So they don't want to put no self blame. So you couldn't go after autonomous software because it, wrecked or whatever. And that's why most of these insurance companies can't actually insure them. So like you're saying, if a guy with a small company of 5 fleet wants to try to put autonomous trucks in there, there's no way he'll ever do it because there's no insurance that's going to say, hey, you know what, we're going to allow you put a piece of and not be responsible for it, but like they should split the cost with it. And that's why I was wondering if just to go way off into the left field over here and see what your thoughts were, if you guys would ever think about doing autonomous insurance.
I wouldn't, man. I don't even believe in it, man. It's taken obviously, and honestly, bud, I don't think it will ever be fully autonomous. Honestly, I don't care what they say. It just can't be.
Have you seen the dot vehicles now that you can get the Uber Eats, and all it is just like a little wagon that goes into the bicycle pass?
Yeah.
Those got to have insurance on them, correct, or probably not?
I see. I ran into those. I don't know. A few months back, I lived here in Vegas. We went to town center to one of the area 15, I think it is, and that's when I saw those rolling around and picking people up, taking off. Again, those things are backed by a lot of money, so I'm not sure how or even who would insure that.
So basically, if you have a lot of money, like always, you can get around the law. You can bend the law. Yeah, you can bend the law.
Money's not everything, they say.
Yeah.
It does make things a lot easier.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, but these are big multi-million-billion-dollar companies that are putting these things together right now. They have their hands in the politicians' pockets, and it's hard for me to say right now because I don't know of any market that would. I've never worked with autonomous vehicles before, but I'm excited because I've been wanting to put something together for years. I'm not rich, guys. I'm hurting just like you guys are, believe it or not. I'm not a trucker. I did have my CDL back in 2003, I think. I think it was 2003 that I went and got it. Obviously, I do something different now, but I'm still in the trucking industry. So,
See that, Dan, that's what I was saying earlier. It doesn't matter. I've been looking for about 2 years. I've been looking at another business to start, something to actually create a living wage for 6 people with one income, and I can't really find one. It's like everything, there's so much gatekeeping, there's so many permits and fees and taxes, and you got to get this and you got to get that. So yeah, you might be grossing 700,000 a year. You might even be grossing 2 million a year, depending on the business. You might be grossing 20 million a year, but at the end, you're netting 80K or 110K. What can even that? We all need to be making like 200K to support a family. That's not even a ton of money, you guys. What?
You need your leaner semen.
Like I've been saying for a year now, truck drivers need to make about 350 net. That's what we were making in the 70s. We could buy off a house in 10 years, retire with $500,000.
Back in the 70s, fuel was diesel fuel was 40-something cents a gallon.
Yeah.
And it was still 40 cents a gallon. Exactly. Well, see, deregulated freight started when Jimmy Carter walked out of office. He deregulated freight, brought it back down. At one time, an owner operator was guaranteed $1.50 a mile, no matter what. That's what that truck got. But when he walked out of the office, he deregulated. Nobody ever brought it back.
And half the people on this live would not be allowed to be in the trucking industry if regulation came back.
Exactly. But deregulating, but it ain't keeping up with the times.
Well, we're kind of there now anyway. There's just a few families that get by, and the rest of us have scraps. So it's kind of the same thing right now. Maybe it's always been like that.
But I mean, at one time, everybody that owned the truck was guaranteed $1.50 a mile to that truck, no matter what. But then it got deregulated, and nobody's ever brought it back. In other words, the government has never. They stopped looking at the trucker as a whole. They didn't. That's. I mean, growing up, I mean, you go in truck stops, and I mean, it was like truckers was it, you know. But now you walk in a truck stop, it's like get your shit and get the hell out. It's just like Walmart now, you know.
But do you really want? But do you really want the government in your business? This is the trade off.
They
This is
don't
that
need-
right?
No,
Exactly.
they don't need to be there, but they need to set a higher standard than what they got now, because now we don't even have a standard.
You have open
It's
market though now. That's the problem. Before when you had regulation, you were paying the government to be able to be a truck driver. It was a cool kids club. You had to pay to be a driver. And the other thing is and the other thing is that company drivers, again, half the people on this live would not be able to be a driver under regulation. Every single woman on here would not be allowed to be a driver. Every single person with ethnic diversity would not allowed to be a driver. If you did not have connections, you were not allowed to be a driver.
But you didn't, Audrey, you didn't have to be a driver, because working as a grocery store cashier, you could go buy a home and support a family and save for the college tuition. My grandma did it. She bought a $750,000 house in Northridge, California as a cashier at Ralph's. Beep,
Right, but that's
beep.
not
I mean,
regulation. That's
you
not a
know,
regulation issue. That is an economic issue. That is a societal issue. That has nothing to do with regulation. That has to do with society as a whole and what the priorities are and where we went as a whole. That has nothing to do with regulation. I'm not disagreeing with you, Vince. Is that
yeah.
you're absolutely right? Society was different. Family
Yeah,
values were
yeah,
different. Societal
definitely.
values were different. All of that is different. That has nothing to do with regulation and trucking. That has to do with society as a whole. So that's comparing apples.
Very true. Very true. So it goes back to stop giving our money to other countries and start focusing on, like what you said earlier, priorities, right? Medical, dental, shelter, food, water, maybe one hobby, but we don't all need Mercedes Benz or three Mercedes Benz, one in each color, right? Maybe we need to go back to that. And then we could all,
Women driving trucks back in the 70s.
I don't think that many women were in the 70s, really.
But that's the
Yeah,
problem.
but they were
Society's
driving
built.
trucks.
Society's built when you're watching TV and you ever look at watch a TV show that they're gonna roll up in a 1995 Honda Civic? No, they're all driving brand new stuff, And as a kid, you're like, hey, I want those things. I want those things. So that, to me, it's not. Look at the whole big picture of why do you want to spend that kind of money on buying a new vehicle instead of buying an older one? Because in your head.
Well, I agree, like weddings, right? Like my daughter, right? I would much rather, and this is what I've been telling her this since she was born, instead of spending 20, 10, 20, 30,000 on your wedding, how about we spend like $2,000 on your wedding and I give you 20,000 for a down on a house for you and your husband? How about we do that instead? Because that's what you need. You don't need a $20,000, $30,000 wedding. Then again, I'm not a woman either, so I'll just shut up on that one since we have a woman here. I'll just keep my mouth shut on that one, Audrey.
I'm not gonna because I will be honest. Well, first of all, $2,000 wouldn't even buy a dress in most worlds.
Okay, yes.
But I got to agree with that. I mean, I think that's very sound advice. I think I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's probably not a popular opinion with many people, but I actually agree with that. A wedding is one day, a house is forever. I mean,
Right.
a house is a home and all those kinds of things. So no, you're not going to get pushback from the woman on here. I agree 100%.
Just making sure. Don't. Right. That's funny.
No, but that is the society. Like my brother, he just went and bought a $30,000 car, and he works at McDonald's. And I'm like, "Bud, you bought a $30,000 car, but you don't have a house. He's planning a marriage and everything." I'm all like, "You should have just got a $5,000 car that you could have paid cash, not have that big old expense, and then kind of move forward." But
Get a fixer upper. Yeah. Yeah.
the system, nobody's out there educating anybody. Like, those, like, schools teaching about history and everything else, but they're not teaching their responsibilities. And now everybody's working, so you don't have like your mom and dad saying, hey, you know what, this is what you should be doing every time, because they're focusing on work and everything in their busy life. So
Well,
it's a
that's because parents aren't putting in the 20 years they need to put in. When you have a child, in my opinion, I owe my kids 20 years. The first 20 years, I got to put everything into it. If you do that, you'll see the next 80 of their life will probably be pretty good. But if you don't put in the first 20, don't complain when the next 80 is constant chaos, right? And
I would argue with that because I have a son who just turned 18 and is off to college, and I think that it still does go back to societal, because we have lots of conversations about, well, so and so has, how come I don't? And it's still societal, and even now more so, there is a movement, there is a thing of what our parents probably did with us and said no to us. You can't do that in some communities, in some states anymore, because it's considered abuse.
that's true.
If you do not provide a certain level, and I'm not talking about food, clothing, shelter, and a roof above their head, there is a movement within parenting, and this is way off topic, but that's abuse. That's psychological abuse. So it is very tough for families right now. Not only from an economic standpoint, you can only make XYZ amount of money. Now you've got these people saying that if you tell your kids no, that's wrong. There are so many issues just beyond, mom and dad can't put the money in, or mom and dad can't do that. It's so multifaceted.
Yeah.
It's funny that you said that, because if you looked at the sick days and all the kids were staying home because of they couldn't go to school, they were forcing everybody to get internet. And I got some old school buddies that are raising their kids and like, hey, we don't believe in the internet, we don't want it in our house or anything. And they pushed them. They said, hey, look, you're going to get internet because now your kid's not going to school and we can kind of press charges on you. So they end up having to get internet. So it's crazy how you're saying like the abuse of the there's no really control over, hey, how I want to raise my kid. It's, you got to do it by the book.
Yeah, their book, their rules. Yeah. Well,
Start teaching life skills. Like we used to have, what was it, life skills, right? In high school or whatever it was. But things that they actually need and that they're gonna use when they get older and out in the world. It's just like truckers too. So many truckers that I talk to, like new ventures, that are just getting their DOT. You don't know what you don't know, and half the information that you see online is garbage, right? So this program that we're looking at building goes everywhere from CDL school and actually teaching all the fundamentals of operating a safe, you know, um, a safe, functional business, and growing that business the right way and doing the right things and being safe and just doing what you have to do to make it to make the operations just move smoothly and as cost effective as you possibly can, because half the people that I talk to on a weekly basis, and I talk to a lot of people, they don't know. People don't know what they don't know. They hear things, and the problem is that turns around and bites them in the ass, because the person that gave them the information gave them wrong information. I see
well,
it every
that's what
day.
I'm saying. It starts at home, right? It's like the youth pastor, a lot of people in my church, right? A lot of parents go to the youth pastor and they say, hey, why aren't you teaching my children about Jesus more? Why aren't you, he's got an hour a week. It's not the youth job, the youth pastor's job to teach your children about Jesus. It is you, the parent. It is your job to instill those morals, those values, integrity. It's not society's job to teach your children, or the teacher's job to teach your children's all those things. In my opinion, it's my job. It's my wife's job. It's not everybody else's job. They're our children. It's our job the first 20 years to put everything we have into those children, to pour into them with everything we have. I can't go and blame, at I'll give you an example. 10 years ago, I was having one of my sons bring firewood in. And he was wearing a long sleeve shirt so he didn't cut up his forearms. Well, I had a buddy of mine over from church and He's like, hey man, that's actually child abuse having your, 7-year-old son bring in firewood. I go, no, that's called discipline. That's called my son is not going to break into your house when he's 20 because I'm making him do chores now. I'm giving him something to do, and I'm teaching him, yeah, responsibility, teaching him how to take care of himself. It's not child abuse, but that's how people think.
Yeah, when we were that age, if we had the day off of school, my dad's like, "You're coming to work with me."
Yep,
Right? We did landscaping and remodeling and things like that.
that's good. Yeah,
But you were going to be, you weren't staying home and enjoying your vacation. You were going to go to work.
right.
Yeah, that's like me when my kid came home and he's like, "Hey, Dad, we were talking about politics in school today," and I'm like, "Oh, really?" You know, and then I stormed right down there to the teacher and I said, "Hey, look, you don't teach my kid what to vote, how to vote, or anything like that. That's my given right of how to do it. That shouldn't even be in our school system. I mean, the basics, but telling them how to vote and which way to vote, that's just
Yeah,
that's
it's absurd. All right, well, hey guys, I got to get going. It's time for me to go be a parent this late. I'm already 30 minutes over. So thank you everybody for coming up. If you have any last words, go ahead, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, I'd say my last words would be is if you guys want to volunteer and throw some data and stuff and look at some changes on the toll roads, it's money out of everybody's pocket, whether you're a company driver, if you're an owner operator, even if you're a lease driver, that's money that can actually go back into the pockets. Finding that it's unconstitutional, the data collecting on the side roads to go around it, what it costs, those are just simple numbers that just drop an email real quick and say, hey, you know what, it's costing me $300 extra or $100 to go around the toll roads, and then what the time is. Time is money, money is time. So if it's taking you 3 hours longer to go that route, that's the information we want to know. So that way, when we go to them to send the letters to the states and the counties, and then go to the state level and Congress or wherever we got to go, that's the data that we need, and we'd rather it be collected by truck drivers that are actually on these roads, seeing every day out there, looking at it and giving that back versus spending $1 million. Because I guarantee you, again, like you said, if you go to Congress with this and say, hey, we got a problem,
Yep.
you know what they're going to say? Easy money. Let's spend 200 million. We're going to do our own study. This is the better way to keep it to where we know what as truck drivers as a whole, knows what the data is. So when they come back and say, hey, this is what we found, we can show them that no, there's 5 more stop signs on that road.
We don't need the government. We only need each other. We the people run this country, not the government. So trucking the USA Today at Gmail. There's also a Facebook page, Trucking the USA Today on Facebook. Go check it out. Go follow it, please, if you feel like following it. And we need your all's input. Let's everybody. I might do the 20 all on my own. I might take 3 days to do the 20 by myself from Michigan City, Michigan to Boston, Massachusetts, just to see how many stoplights, how many curves, how many small towns do I have to go through, and how much time am I actually saving versus just spending $400, right? Well, it's not just $400. That's a lot of money to go on the same road I was going to go on anyway. It's not right. Sorry, Sean, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, 81 in Oklahoma, and person can actually see if you run in the Oklahoma area. If you run the I-95 corridor and you go around the tolls, I mean, there's 33 different states that have toll roads, so it's not something that one person's going to be able to do as a whole. The more input we have, and like I said, 100% true data from truck drivers, not, well, we went on Google and we think it's this, or we went AI told us this.
Yeah.
That's what most of these congressmen are doing up in the state levels. Oh, we got a problem. Hold on, let me ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
No, we want to have factual evidence saying that this is what we have and this is our issue. We want, we don't want to play games anymore. We want to put the money back in the truck driver where it belongs, put it in the seat of the person that's doing the work, not the people that's, well, we need a few bucks, let's sell this or lease this out to get what we want.
I would challenge anybody that's listening or anybody here. I bet you watch after this live, OOIDA is going to get involved. The ATA is going to get involved. The government's going to try to get involved and get grants to get this little study going. But guess what? Our data, truck drivers' data, compared to their data, are going to be completely different. But they'll get their data done first. Ours will probably take, 4 months, 6 months maybe. Theirs will take, a week because they're doing this. They're not doing this. They don't have the actual facts. They're just going to come up with another way to scam us all. So forget the scams. Don't trust the government. Do not trust what they say or what they want. We know we can trust each other and what we say, because the data that we're going to give each other, or we share it on Facebook on this page. You know, we all drive the same roads. We all know the same roads. So
But their data's gonna cost $2 million.
bingo. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Let's do it for free for each other, by each other, and benefit each other for $0. Screw them straight up. I say that respectfully. All right.
And that's how we have to do it. I mean, we got to show the numbers and say, hey, you know what, this is what it's costing. I mean, we know what their numbers, most of the numbers are, that it's a 15 to 20 billion dollar with a B industry that they're making off of it. So how do we put that 15 to 20 billion dollars back in the driver's pocket, you know, a year? I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, how many trucks could you buy a year? Each person should be able to afford a truck.
That's right. So Ronnie's asks, can someone type the page in the chat? I just did it. So it's Trucking the USA Today on Facebook, and the email is Trucking the USA Today at Gmail. It's just that simple. So, I mean, it could be as small as, you know, I went 20 miles on a back road to get around this toll, and the toll was going to cost this much, but I did this to get around it. This is how much time it took me. I lost this amount of time, or it was dangerous to go around this road, because a lot of truck drivers are losing their lives by trying to avoid tolls because they're so desperate to save pennies, because that's where we're at. That's where our elected leaders and a lot of other poor decisions has gotten all of us, not just in trucking, in all industries. It's broken arrow in our country. So let's band together and to hell with all of them, and do this for ourselves. You know, put the money back in our pocket.
And I even seen somebody in the chat said, well, I bill for toll roads if I'm going that area. I do the same thing. I bill for the toll roads, but then I don't go them because that's extra money in my pocket. A penny earned is a penny saved is a penny earned. So, you know, even if you're trying to say, hey, you know what, I'm billing it in there. I mean, it's not, it still ain't feasible in the long run. What did the broker actually get to go that way? So, I mean, in business, that's how you have to do it, and company drivers as well. I know guys that, they actually work for a company and they say, hey, look, you're not taking a toll road at all. Go down and around. And those are the guys that we need to show that there's a problem in this industry, that we got too many people in our pocket on the toll roads, and let's stop it. And if we can start here, this is an easy win, and then we can make bigger change. But just start at the easy and get this done and knocked out.
We, the people, need to show the government we're in charge, not them. It's time. It's time for them to understand and realize who is actually in charge of this country. And it is not the US government, it is the US people, the US of A citizens. It is us, the ones that actually make money. The government doesn't make any money. They just literally screw everything up and destroy our pursuit of happiness, right? And I'm not against the government. They have way too much power. They're out of their minds, and they need to be spanked straight up. And we are their parents. They are our children. So let's actually discipline our children and show them who the adults are here, because they are not the adults. They're the kids, and they're out of control. Capiche? Capiche.
That's you're 100% right. So, and that's what we need to stand up and as a whole show this industry that, you know, these roads that they're collecting all this money on are the most horrible roads in the on the planet.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not good when you gotta you know, pull the seatbelt a little bit tighter, because if you want to make up time, you're gonna hit all these potholes.
Yeah. Maybe, I mean,
Still pay for it.
the economists call themselves smart, right? And they go to college for 6, 8, 10 years to learn all these things. Well, they're not so smart, because they've put us in a desperate position where enough is enough. And now we're gonna figure it out, and we'll come after them and stop them, because it's too much. It's just too much. We all need a living wage, more than a living wage. We all should have a life similar to our grandparents, you know, and the only way we're going to get it done is if we actually do the work. We actually enforce the law, which we are allowed to do. We are allowed to enforce the law. Law enforcement isn't the only people that can enforce the law. Okay, there's lawsuits, there's citizens arrests, and it's time that they learn a lesson. So I hope you all join us. Remember, go to Trucking the USA Today Facebook page or go to Trucking the USA Today at Gmail and write your complaints, comments. Just let us know what you see, especially where there's a toll road. Like there's anybody that lives in Denver, anybody that goes over to San Francisco, there's that little toll. There's a lot all over the country. What is it? 30, 38 states out of 48. So I guarantee you, if you're watching this, you drive in a state probably that has a toll somewhere, and it probably pisses you off and you're probably sick and tired of it. So don't you think you should put that money back in your pocket, or at least put it back in your family's pockets where it stays in the United States? Not Australia. I don't have any problems with Australia. I love the people down under, but they're not my people. I care about our people first. Okay. And we don't have enough to share right now. I'm sorry, we don't. Period. Enough is enough. So
And you can send an email like he put on here. Ronnie put, yeah, destroys our equipment. So I mean, even if you're going across the toll road and that thing is, you thought you left 2 tires and 3 axles back there, send it in. Send it in an email saying, hey, I just went across the this toll over here, and man, this is the roughest road I've ever been on. So I mean, that's the information that we're wanting to collect. Like I said, it's time to be whistleblowers, call them out on it, and
Well,
we can do it. It don't take much.
every state, you can sue them for that, because they do have money set aside for every state.
Well, and that's the thing. So I mean, like no idea. All these
It's
big,
gonna take you to get your money back. That's the problem.
right? So and that's the thing. A lot of these guys, like OIDA, they go in there and they dip for $444 million because the George Washington Bridge. They pay that money and it's easy. We're not we don't want to be bought out. We want to fix the problem. A buyout, that's simple. I mean,
yeah, no, that ain't gonna work anymore. No, it needs to stop. Forget the lawsuit and one person wins a bunch of money but doesn't share it with the other 2 million truck drivers. We're not doing that. That's not what this is about. This isn't a get rich scheme. This is so each 2 million of the truck drivers out there can put $4,000 a year back in their pocket where it belongs, because you guys earned it. I earned it. Okay. Not Australia. Australia didn't earn it. We earned it, and we drive these roads every day. We sacrifice leaving our families. We go out and risk our lives 7 times more dangerous than law enforcement does. And we lose our life on average at 62 years old. Okay? Not Australians, not the Chinese, not the Russians. We do. So we get to put that money back in our pocket for our family's future, for our legacies, not for theirs. Who just left? Oh, Audrey. Audrey left.
Take that money.
couldn't say that any better, Vince.
Thank you.
Take
Yeah.
that money, you guys, and invest it back into your overall businesses, right? So all these big companies have millions or billions of dollars backing them up, right? But take that collectively and put it back in as an investment, into the truck,
Yes.
each one puts a small amount in,
Yeah.
and
Give back.
you have that money at that point to get shit done,
Yeah.
So somebody put in the comments there, Vince, that you're right, but how to start? Again, Vince, in the comments there, he posted it. If you go on to Facebook or in the email, we're basically trying to collect cold hard data to go to the states, start at the small and work our way up, to get rid of tolls. And we're just looking for any kind of information, what it costs to go around the tolls, what the roads look like. Was there a no truck route now? Because some of these roads are on there and GPS isn't even updating them. I was told on US 20 there's actually a stretch now that's about 5 miles that says no through trucks. Well, now you got to detour around that to get around it. So
And that's probably 12 miles around that,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's information that is not on any website. It's not on any GPS because we're not seeing it. I mean, the GPS is still going to tell you to go down 20 on it. It's not rerouting you back around. But if we can actually say, hey, you know what, on this stretch of it, it says no through trucks. And that's the data we want to collect to show that you're forcing us to have to go on a toll road and having to pay it versus having freedom of travel. And yeah, it's all going to be done by truckers. We don't want to take this to Congress and say, hey, we got a problem. We want you to fix it. We want to fix our own problem.
So I want to point out one thing real quick. Ronnie said in the chat, he said, taxes are also astronomical. So Ronnie, I want to point something out to you, brother. Do you notice in every single trucking advocacy live or channel or show or anything, we always, as truckers, and if you look at other industries, they do the same thing. We bounce around to the 20 different problems in every industry that there is. You're not wrong. You are absolutely right. Taxes are what, like 30% total for if you have state and federal. So this is the problem. For 7 months now, I've been advocating and I've been spending hours and hours and not getting really any traction at all on my videos. I haven't focused on one problem. So if everybody focuses on one issue and they become passionate about it and they get excited about it and they learn everything about it and they go after it and make citizens arrest or sue people and give it back to whatever group they're in for that issue. Like if it's for parking and you solve the parking problem after 5 years, give it all back to parking somehow, right? So, something similar to that. But we are designed, it's all by design to throw our brains off, to make us go all over and get all schizophrenic and bipolar about what do? We're not solving any problems. We're like ADHD, where we talk about 100 problems, but we don't solve one. That's why we've chosen, we're just going to go after tolls. Again, you're not wrong. You're absolutely right, dude. I could talk about taxes for a year about what's happened to me with taxes, and it's bullshit, man. It's wrong to do that to a family man. So I'm just wanted to make that clear.
You talking about the parking at the
No,
Metro in Carlisle, PA?
no, I'm not. I'm just talking about tolls.
Yeah, Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I made a video years ago where they was actually doing reserve spots all over this truck stop. This is at the Metro, and I did it. I made a video and put it on Facebook.
Good. Okay.
The very next week, I come in there. Guess what they done? They painted over all them reserve signs.
Well,
That's what we need in this industry. We
They
need
damn sure
whistleblowers.
did, 'cause I put it all over Facebook, spread it all over the place. I come back in there the next week, all them reserve signs was gone.
that's what we need. Men and women of action, not talk. No more talk. Not for me anyway. I can't speak for all of you, but for me, for our team, no more talk. So if you want to get involved in tolls, I'm your guy. If you want to get involved in, it sounds like parking, Otis, get on that, brother. Come on, I need your help with that. I don't have the time to do it because I'm focusing on tolls. But if you want to start a whole organization on going after parking and figuring that out and start figuring out, follow the money, find out who's benefiting from this issue in trucking and go after them. You are a US citizen. You are way more powerful than the federal government or any state government. You are if you're a US citizen. It's that simple. We, the people. Do you know that the government, including law enforcement, is 1% of the population? There's 350 million Americans. So I want to make that very clear. They are 1%. And of that 1%, they are all American too. So of that 1%, probably 90% of them, 95% of them think like us. They're just caught up in it. They don't know how to get out, or they're benefiting from it that they don't want to. But they don't agree with it either. You know, they're American too, man. Just like our soldiers love their home, they love us. They're our soldiers. You know, they don't agree with everything that they're being told to do. They just have to follow orders. That's a whole other different thing. But I really got to go, guys. Thank you everybody for coming up. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Remember, guys, trucking the USA today at Gmail. All right. Any last words, and then I really got to drop out.
No, if you got information, submit it on the Facebook. Everybody can see it. That's how we're going to collect the data. We don't want to be like some other advocate groups where they're trying to hold it back and nobody can see it. This is going to be built by us and the truckers. So we want everybody to see that, hey, you know what you did by taking that long little bit of route and costing you extra money actually is going to pay off. So It's going to be free shared, so everybody can see it, and that's how everything will be kept trustworthy, and everybody can see that their work's paying off.
Transparent. That's the reason for the Facebook page. Transparency. Yep. Any last words, Otis?
All right, man.
All right, brother. Thanks for coming on. Sean, thank you, brother, for coming on. Always a pleasure talking to you. And I'll talk to you two later, all right?
All right, sounds good.
All right.
You guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining in.
Yep, you too. All right, everybody. So that concludes our live. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around this long. You guys are amazing. Everybody that came on, commented, liked, shared, all of the things. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. I'm back at it. I took a little time off. My father's sick. My son was sick. It was just a whole bloom of major issues happened, family issues. So I had to take care of those. But I'm back now, and we're on it. We're going after tolls. That's it for me anyway. I'm still here to talk about everything trucking, but primarily that's what I'm doing. Today is day one. Our lives are going to be about learning, educating each other, educating me, and remember, guys, Trucking the USA Today at Gmail and Trucking the USA Today Facebook page. Any kind of data you guys want to give us, it's for us. It's not for the government. It's not for some private agency. It's for guys and gals just like us that make barely a living wage to support our families. So I love each and every one of you on YouTube and X. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate y'all. On Facebook, thank you for coming on. And on TikTok, where it's most popular, thank you so much for all the things. Please tell everybody if there's anything someone wants to know about tolls. Tell them come talk to Truckers Unite now, and or also go to Trucking the USA Today Facebook page. That's where we're collecting all the data to do our work, to tackle tolls, to completely annihilate tolls, or put all the money back in our pockets, truck drivers, or at least Americans, right? At least our beautiful country here that we love so much, this beautiful flag. Okay, you guys know how much I love America. All right. Okay, I want to make sure that doesn't fall. All right, so a truck driver is always supposed to be trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the truck law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verses 13 through 14 says this: be on your guard, stand still in the faith, be courageous, be strong, do everything in love. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate the shares, the follows, the gifts, everything. What we do with the gifts here, when you'll see us in other lives, and we always try to make the live as popular as we can. We always give gifts to every person that's in the box. I'm not just on my channel, but mostly 99% of it is on everybody else's channels to try to get that trucking channel to the FYP page. Even if we don't agree with other trucking advocates, we try to make them as popular as we can, because any trucking advocate in the trucking industry trying to help the trucking industry is my hero, straight up, because I have 4 children that depend on this industry that I love very much. That's why I sacrifice my life for trucking and for the American economy, for my family, right? Just like all of you. So I love you guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and thank you for watching. And as always, keep the shiny side up and the dirty side down. Come on. See you guys.